So hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am here with the recovering Democrat, Donovan Sadiq, on this Free Flow Friday, where we talk about everything, right? Everything and anything, for the most part, that happened this week. Just flowing, going with the flow of things, right? And so, like to say a big giant welcome to YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation. This is one of the only shows that reads each and every comment, question, or concern that comes across the comment section, because we believe that you all should not just be viewers, but you should be participants as well. So also, if we can ask you all to share this live so that everybody else can get the information and join in on the conversation, we would greatly appreciate it. And today we are going to be talking about, as I said, a whole host of things, but I thought I started off with Americans are going to be homeless and refugees are going to be housed. And I'll get into that in just a second. But in the meantime, we'll give it to Donovan. He's going to tell us how his day in court went. Hey, Jamarcus, how you doing?
Hey, you guys. Welcome to Free Flow Friday. We are ecstatic you are here because you guys actually are our co-hosts and part of the show. And we like to have you guys and learn a lot from you guys and listen to what you guys have got to say and what's going on around the nation. And matter of fact, the globe. So, we get news from a little bit everywhere. Do us a favor, please like, share, and subscribe. And let me just tell you this. I went to court today and I just got home. Of course, how do they make you show up to court at 8:30, but the judge doesn't show up till 9:15? And then my attorney went to Victorville Court because he had another case up there, didn't get to the courthouse till 10. All right, which is okay. But you see what I'm saying? It's like they want you to be on time, but they're not on time. And they're just taking their sweet time. And that's just the way justice systems roll now. This case is 2 years old. I've been dealing with this case for 2 years. And I wanted to get to discovery. And they're suing me. I'm not suing them. They are suing me for slander and defamation and all that other stuff, right? And they're probably right. I probably did slander them, depending on how you look at it, right? Let's go to trial so I can get that discovery. And a lot of people are like, well, what's discovery? Discovery is whatever I feel that is pertinent to my case to prove my case, the other side has to give me. Anything I want. So I need the financial record because I said these people are connected, blah, blah, blah. So you guys have heard that the Democratic Party here in Moreno Valley, as well as the NAACP, is not very fond of me. Matter of fact, they look at me like I'm a traitor. And unfortunately, they tried to get me to settle and not talk about them and all this other stuff. And I said, no, let's go to trial. I want to go to trial because I want to make sure everybody out there knows that when I slander you, I slander you. All of a sudden, after a couple of hours of negotiating with these people, they decide to drop the case. Just like that, done. 2 years of BS. And see what the tactic that they use. And this is another thing I'm going to tell you guys out there real quick. Stop being afraid to go to court. Go to court and, deal with it. Because, what they tried to do was Donald Trump. He sues everybody, right? Because he has the resources to outlast you. Stop cutting these side deals with these DAs. Make them do their jobs. Make them do their jobs. Yes, it's going to take a lot of your time and stuff. But make these people do their jobs. And when they realized that I was like, no, let's go to trial. I'm good. Let's do it. They were like, hey, we're not going to convince this guy. And so I spent 6 hours basically getting nothing. I won, but I lost.
All right. And so, we're glad that you won something, right? In 2 years, it wasn't completely in vain. And so you guys, really quick before we get started, I'm going to say hello and read everybody's comments. I want to show you guys this here. This is the Diva brand where she sells a whole host of t-shirts. I have this one here, Make Black Wall Street Great Again. And she has a whole bunch of other custom-made t-shirts and items. We have hats, bags, and, baseball caps. You can purchase there, and I put the link in the description box on YouTube and Facebook. American by birth and African by blood. I like that shirt. I'm going to get that one next. And then it's gonna get cold. I know it's hot now, but you might want you a nice little sweatsuit or something. And again, this is a Black-owned business, astrology shirts, if that's your thing. I rep Team Aries. If you want a T-shirt that has your sign on it, hit her up. The Diva shop, the Diva brand shop rather. That's the Diva brand shop rather. And then these other T-shirts, and then there's things for babies as well. So yes, check it out. Support Black-owned businesses. All right, so here we go. Why are we here today? So as you guys may or may not know, actually, let me get to you guys' comments before I get into it, so I don't get too far behind. So facts not feelings, how you doing? And Jamarcus and Monet, what's going on? You are at work. All right, don't work too hard. The X Studios, hello. Antoine, how you doing? Rick C, Jeremy, Brother Samuel, how you doing? And the Pioneer, what's going on, bro? Damn. Hey, Thunder, Frank, Wilbur. All right, and Anais and Tisha, how you doing? All right, so I'm gonna let me see these other comments that didn't just say hello. And the Pioneer says a lot of our people take a plea bargains because they don't have the money to afford high-powered lawyers and high legal bills. Criminal courts, where your freedom, quote unquote, is on the line, should be totally free.
Well, if you're dealing with a life and death situation or a criminal case, you are entitled to a public defender. Unfortunately, the public defenders don't get the resources that the prosecutor gets, but you do get that. But in like cases of slander and stuff like that, which is like, it's not like a major case or anything like that, you can, defend yourself. And the thing is, you just know basic law. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you are still entitled to a jury of your peers. Let the system work the system. The thing, that's what I'm saying. We are afraid to go, and we shouldn't be.
Yes, indeed. All right. And so I'll make sure I got all the comments. All right. So we are here today. We're going to talk about a whole host of things. One of the other topics we're going to talk about is, what did Big Mama and Big Papa do to stay together? Like, why were they so successful? But first, we're going to start off with, you guys may or may not know that the eviction moratorium has really been shot down by the Supreme Court. They said that the CDC was using a 10-year-old rule that had been on some books and that is outdated. And the CDC actually does not have jurisdiction over whether landlords can evict people. As you guys know, due to the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs, could not pay rent, and some people stopped paying rent for whatever reason, right? They didn't have the resources. Well, they didn't put it toward their rent anyway. And so the moratorium was extended. It was supposed to expire on the 31st of July, but it was supposed to expire before that. But the CDC came in and said, okay, we're going to extend it. But then they said, well, it really wasn't our job to do that. So they kicked it back to Congress and said it's actually Congress's job to, make a ruling as far as changing the laws to extend the moratorium. So as of now, the moratorium is no more, right? People can't.
No, go ahead. Good.
Oh, people can be evicted, right? Landlords are more or less like, we want our properties back. And so the evictions are going to start rolling forward pretty soon unless Congress steps in.
Now, what I want to add to that real quick was, remember 60 days ago, the Supreme Court had told Congress before and said, look, it is unconstitutional. You need to make a law. We said that 60 days ago. That's why Biden was like, I'm not going to extend it. Nothing I can do. Congress just made a ruling. So you mean to tell me Congress has got to tell you twice to do what you're supposed to do, Congress? Think about it. Think about it. They ruled on that 60 days ago, and they did it anyway, knowing that they had no authority to do it.
Right. So it's the ball is in Congress's court right now as to whether they're going to extend the moratorium. Will they do it? I don't know. But, just really thinking about the larger scheme of things, Congress is Democrat ran, even if the Senate is slightly, it's still ran by the Democrats. They have a lot of things that they can do. We have a Democratic president at the end of the day who can, do executive order if he wanted to. Congress, for whatever reason, didn't act. And so these are the people y'all voted for. Now, I didn't vote for Joe Biden. I didn't vote for Trump either. But, people run around talking about the Democrats are the party of the people. They're supposed to help people. Well, you have millions of Americans who are going to be facing eviction in the Supreme Court. So there was 3 dissenting judges, and they were Democrats, said we don't want to end the moratorium because now we're smack dab in the middle of the pandemic that's worse now, right? And so again, there was nothing they could do, but the pandemic is going on and it's worse. Almost 150,000 people per day are being, diagnosed or whatever, are testing positive for the coronavirus. It is back to where it was when we were in the thick of it in the original pandemic. Now we are facing the Delta variant. So I say all of that to say a lot of people are going to be homeless, but on the other side of that, got a lot of Afghans who are coming over here to America. In all fairness, they're going other places too, like Uganda is taking in 2,000 refugees, and Korea and a couple other places are taking the refugees. But here in America, I just find it ironic that we are putting people out of their homes. When I say we, talking about landlords, they're going to be evicted, they're going to be homeless, but yet all of these resources, $500 million has been allocated from an emergency fund, if you will, for unexpected, things like this, from a fund that was created in 1962, dealing with what is it? Let's see, I wrote it down. It is dealing with migrants and refugee assistance. So it's from 1962. So anyway, Joe Biden's administration set aside $500 million to help with them, whether it's shelter, food, clothing, medical assistance, and in some cases, like a lot of nonprofits, they can help them with education, learning English. So there's a lot of things that has been allocated for the refugees. In addition, Airbnb is setting aside 20,000. They're going to help 20,000 refugees with housing. All right. And so then the other side of that is, all right, so you got these American companies. Airbnb is going to help 20,000 refugees with housing. You got $500 million from the Biden administration to help refugees. But then on the other side, you got all these millions of Americans that are going to be facing homelessness because they are going to be evicted. And so how do we make sense of that? How does that even jive on just like, I don't think you really need to be a rocket scientist to say, okay, something in the milk ain't clean here. How is it that we have Americans that are going to be homeless, but then yet we're doing all of these things? Now, okay, admittedly, there are programs that help people in America, like your welfare, socialism, I guess, if you will, Medi-Cal, food stamps, and all of that. However, there's a lot of people who are going to be faced homelessness. Now, in addition, the Biden administration did allocate $46 million to help with back rent and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, the states have only let go of about 5 million of, is it 5 billion? 5 billion, I'm sorry, 5 billion. So 46 billion. The states have only let go about 5 billion of those dollars to help with people's rental assistance. And so there's a problem here. And why are we allowing that to go on? And again, before I give it to Donovan and read you guys' comments, you guys know that over half of the homeless population in America are Black people.
Well, let me address that real quick. There is no problem here, Demetra. You got to look at the economics of it. Supply and demand. Negroes are being thrown into the streets. And guess what? Plenty of housing for the Afghans. That's going to be plenty of housing for them. So it balances out, right? All these resources, and they're basically using the playbook that they used for the Vietnamese that came here. How is it that people that came here in 1973, in general, 60 years ago, could come here, open up businesses, go to college, learn English, and do all these things within 60 years and get all of this help within the time that they got here, and surpass Black people as an economic wealth as a group, plus get federal status, and yet Black people have been here since day one, and they can't even pass an anti-lynching bill that's been on the books for over 200 years. Very sad, very sad. But guess what? I'm a Democrat. Well, we got to get Trump up out of there. He's disrespectful. He's a racist. Well, what is more racist than Democrats telling you that you're for the people, and yet you take trillions of dollars, because again, we love to finance our own demise. We love to do that. And you have nothing to show people who vote for you when it comes down to it. Show us your record. Every Democrat that anybody, and I challenge anybody on this panel, show me a Democrat that has actually tangibly stood up for Black people, and I'll show you it doesn't exist. Demetra?
I was just looking to see how many people in Houston are actually facing eviction. I wasn't able to see it. It's quite a few, for I would imagine. But
real quick, and by the way, those people that are in Louisiana, I guess there's a tropical storm about to hit land and stuff. It's supposed to hit, I guess, Sunday. Please be careful out there. You know, I will never understand this, Demetra. People could go through hurricane season, but can't stand an earthquake.
Well, yeah, they're kind of different things. So anyway, so I know Houston is also assisting with the refugees from Afghanistan, and so maybe y'all can help us out and help us figure out how does that fly, especially when, you know, Black people still haven't gotten reparations for the horrors that were exacted upon us, you know, since we've been over in America. But then you have people, and I get it, you know, it's not a nice situation that's going on in Afghanistan, but, you know, how do you help everybody else before you help the people who live here, right? So let me get to you guys' comments, and thank y'all for being so patient. All right, and let's see. Lisa, what's going on with you? Eric, how you doing? And Tisha, you say, hey. And Frankie says, pioneer, or if they're poor and can't afford a good lawyer, but it's racism into these plea bargains. Oh, for sure. And Facts Not Feelings, it says, prediction, in a few years, these Afghan refugees will be on white supremacist TV programs, shitting on Blacks about how they made it in the U.S. Yeah, right now, as I said, I was reading, there's programs that are going to help them if they want, you know, learn English. They're going to completely be educated. So, you know, and the visa program, they are getting, there will be full permanent residence under the green card and some other program. So it's going to be expedited, if you will. And as far as the refugees that are brought over here, they're going to be tested now instead of, you know, as far as the virus, they'll be tested now instead of, you know, when they were getting on the plane.
Yeah, but like I said yesterday, how do we let people who betrayed their own people into our country? Are those people really worthy of, you know, coming into our country? I mean, they collaborated with an aggressor within their country. But we're going to bring them over here. Can people like that be trusted? But okay.
Moni, how you doing? He says, happy birthday to me. Hello, Demetra and Donovan. Glad to see you both. Much Detroit love to you always. I love you both, and we love you as well. The Pioneer says, this is the thing I don't understand about the jury of your peers, quote unquote, part of the Constitution. How do so many poor Black men end up being convicted by wealthy white juries? Is it that unconstitutional? Well, break it on down, brother, really quick. What does your peers indicate? Peers are people that are like you, that think like you, right? For lack of better words, they're supposed to be your friends. And so if you're a Black man and you're on a jury of all white people, are those typically your friends? No, which is why it would behoove us to show up to jury duty and stop making excuses not to go. Every time we don't show up to jury duty, that, you know, widens the chance of one of our own getting sentenced unfairly, just because, as you know, a lot of white people and other people, they have preconceived notions about Black people. They're automatically guilty. So we need to show up.
And sometimes it only takes one person to hang a jury, and that's what I did.
Yes, and Moni, you say, I think it's wrong to know that it's a pandemic and not care. People can be thrown out in the streets, but I believe something is going to happen all of a sudden that might change it for a few. Some people, I mean, it's up to Congress at this point to step in. And so far, you know, all those bleeding hearts on Twitter, they haven't done it. So
no, Nancy said that it's up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says it's up to the Congress. Congress says it's up to Joe Biden. See how they keep throwing it?
Yeah, but anybody who knows how it works, it's ultimately Congress's rule. I mean, they can change any rule in the law in the Constitution they want.
Right. All they got to do is make a law. That's why they're the law writers. Yep. They make the law. Period.
And the Supreme Court just interprets the law. So they don't make the law. And Pioneer said the moratorium didn't really end evictions. It put extra stipulations on it. If you destroyed the property or did illegal things on it, you could still be evicted for that. Many have been already. Yeah, so, well, of course, like if not normal stuff, we're talking about stuff that's related to the pandemic, because from what I understand, even with this rental assistance, you have to prove that you are financially injured due to the pandemic and all that to get the assistance. So yeah, if you're doing some other stuff, yeah, that doesn't count. And Frank is saying some of these staged cases help corrupt sentencing and change case law. True. Anna, how you doing? He says, didn't Donovan say this would happen last night? They got to make room for these white aligned refugees. Yeah. Yes, indeed. And they're making it very easy. Come over here and get permanent citizenship. I know people who, gotten citizenship finally, but it was like years.
Years. It takes years.
Years.
I get it right sometimes, Anna. Sometimes, every now and then.
And on to say they kill me. How they're good for saying something is outdated when it don't suit their need, but they will come with laws all the time against Black men and Black women for years, and it's wrong. Well, this Constitution was never designed for Black people. Never, ever.
Yet we have lawmakers that look like us that do absolutely nothing in regards to, and some of them are lawyers. They know better, but they do nothing.
And Anna, how you doing? He says, greetings, everyone. What did I miss? Nothing. You right on time. And Marlon says, I'm the pioneer. Much Detroit love. I think you may. I'm well. And he says, well, Biden says that when they go to renegotiate for the fiscal budget, he's going to hold out until signatures are signed to get this passed longer.
Really? And I bet you're still waiting for that stimulus check and the George Floyd bill to pass and the John Lewis bill to pass and the lynching bill to pass and the student debt forgiveness. Should I go on? Should I keep going on to what Joe Biden said he's going to do?
And Todd says, pay your damn rent. And how you doing, by the way? Pay your damn rent or get the hell out. There's other people that would be happy to move in and pay rent. You're holding up a lot of folks. Well, I guess I can see that on the surface, but there's a lot of people who can't just get the hell out because they have nowhere to go, especially people who were legitimately injured financially by the pandemic. So it's easier said than done.
Yeah, and you got to think about some of those landlords. They say 6% of Black people that were landlords are going to lose their property because they couldn't pay, the mortgage and plus their own mortgages that they already had. So we kind of affected ourselves in an instance because of this pandemic, Yeah,
well, I mean, it's applicable to everybody. The pandemic, it's gonna, I would imagine it affects Black people more, but it was applicable to everybody. And so everybody's just kind of stuck. You know what I mean? On Thunder, you say the next 3 years are going to crap, but the upcoming election, we can make our voices heard by demanding them to show their work for us, and it doesn't add up. Hold the vote. Yeah. Okay.
Well, Thunder, let me ask you this, and I like your thinking. How do you hold them accountable once they attain office?
Anastasia, how you doing? You say, didn't Donovan just talk about that last night? Yes, indeed. And Georgia Rose, how you doing? And Anastasia says, did they help like this during Katrina or Haiti?
Wait, did Katrina and Haiti have to deal with Black people? There's your answer.
I mean, the Afghans got help faster than the people in Katrina did. It was like 5 days or so. People was on rooftops and all of that.
And guess what your CBC was arguing during that time of Katrina? And Katrina is very personal to me because my mother is in Slidell, which was affected. I got family members that were affected, right? What was the CBC arguing about during that time? Stop calling those Black Americans refugees. That's all they were arguing about. They weren't trying to get these people help. They weren't trying to get FEMA assistance and pass legislation to help these people. The CBC's biggest problem with Bush's response was they kept calling them refugees. They're Americans. They're not refugees.
Silly season is what it was. Just straight up silly season. And Anna says, where are my reparations, right? Where am I into it? Mr. Pirate Brain, how you doing? Antoine says, all a part of the satanic elite agenda. And Jeremy, you say money set aside for the refugees to get grants to start businesses. Again, guess where they're going to be starting those businesses? Right in the neighborhood near you. And Monet, you say our country doesn't make sense. It contradicts itself all the time. Yeah, but we just go along with it like, okay, yeah.
No, it only contradicts itself when it has to do with Black people. That's the contradiction. Everybody else, it doesn't contradict itself. The Asians got protected status on the first try. The first try.
But again, that's our fault too. It's our fault because we don't get along, right? We got all these schisms in our community, arguing with each other, and they're on one page. They're like, listen, we gonna get what we came here to get, and they get it. It's only us. Like, think about that, how sick that is. Joe Biden, which we know he lied, he sat up there and said, Black people stood by me, I'm gonna stand by y'all. And for the 7 to 8 months he's been in office, he's been standing by everybody else but Black people. I mean, how do you allocate $500 million toward Afghanistan, to help the refugees, but yet you ain't allocated that specifically toward Black people here in America?
There isn't, but about a percentage of Congress is 20% Asian, 20%. And that bill passed overwhelmingly. They only have 2 Asian senators in the Senate. And they told Joe Biden, if you don't give us our bill, your legislation is not going through. 2 senators held up his legislation and he caved.
Who makes the most money in America? Asians. They make the most money, so they know they're on one accord and they can shut it down too if they wanted to. And Anastasia, you say the southern states don't give a damn and are holding on to this money. You talk about the $46 billion. And Marnie says, I think it's enough with these Democrats that they can come together, even if they have to do a filibuster to override the Republicans. They need to pass something. Nobody should be thrown in the streets. Well, the Democrats have the power to get rid of the filibuster. Why haven't they done that?
And right now, Moni, they're in the majority. They don't have to wait for anything. They can pass whatever they want right now. So yep. Why even worry about the filibuster? If they really wanted to pass something, they can do it.
All smoke and mirrors. And the Pioneer says, since one of the reasons so much of this federal money isn't trickling down to the people is because it's passing through too many hands. Too many nonprofits are acting as the middleman. Yep. Oh, we gonna help them. We got a program. We need these we have a nonprofit. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. But more importantly, it's they greasing each other's hands, and the people who really need the money are just stuck, right? Gerard, how you doing? He said the title of the video is so deep, but it's so true, right? And Anastasia says MLK Jr. talked about this. And Georgia Rose says Americans being left behind in Afghanistan is treasonous taxpayer-funded weapons systems, and they can't get a ride, right? But I mean, they're giving everybody else a ride. Did y'all see that plane with like almost 700 Afghans were on the doggone plane? I'm like, is that even safe?
Yeah, and then that's not even the biggest airplane we got. I think if that was a C-5 Galaxy, you could put more people in there.
I was like, damn, I'll be like, I'll catch the next one. And y'all be talking bad about Spirit, and y'all getting on that.
What about the people that fell from the plane? I mean, you're scared to stay in the country because you're going to get killed, but you put your life at risk just to get on a plane that ended up killing you anyway.
Yeah, it was a 17-year-old soccer player who fell from the damn sky. I guess he was holding on to how do you even hold on to the plane and it's going that damn fast to even get up in the air?
Yeah,
that's determination.
It's a matter of time once it gets to full speed. Yeah.
Damn. And Anastasia, you say the Democrats don't have to show us anything. We are satisfied with them doing the electric slide, opine, the smoking weed, and these stupid challenges. Yes, indeed. Pioneer says, Donovan took my words. Houston has more problems than homelessness. A major hurricane is headed to that region. Yeah, that's why I told y'all yesterday I need to go get me some water. And I went out and forgot today, but I'm going to go back because I heard it gets real around these parts, right? And Anastasia, you say, Dr. Claude Anderson said that America needs a slavery population and we are it. Oh, for sure.
Well, actually, they're replacing us with the people from across the border.
Now, I'm talking about slavery population.
Oh yeah, no. With the rate things are going in 9 years, we will be there. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely.
And Thunder says it's a simple answer. Why are they helping them? Tucker Carlson said it. These are essentially bearded white guys with blue and green eyes, quote unquote. Yeah. And Anastasia says they did the same thing with the Cubans. Yes, indeed. And Moni says, so basically, to meet you, this is a hypocritical society. And personally, I'm sick of it. And I hope those that voted for this, I hope that they reap what they sowed. To see a person outdoors and you could comment cut off.
Yeah, Moni, if you could only have gone to LA, they are moving homeless at gunpoint because it had gotten so bad in LA. I mean, it was just like they were everywhere.
But it's like, where are they going? Where are they really going to go? You know, but you find, and even the military, they're going to be housing the Afghans. They get military housing.
Just like they did in Vietnam. They had a big settlement right there at Camp Pendleton. All that land out there, they put a whole bunch of them right there.
But you can't house your own people? Hey,
that's too much like socialism. You can't. No, that's socialism.
Well,
you can't give them. Pull your doggone pants up and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But how do you do that when the people don't even have boots?
Right. Leather and Luxury Cars, how you doing? And Facts Not Feeling says, well said, Donovan. And Leather and Luxury Cars says, hope. Let's see. Hope all is well. Listening from work. Been working for 2 months straight. Well, damn. Take a break. Take a day off, but don't work too hard though. And Brotham, you say America, KKK, say a merger, Indo-Caucasian Aryan nation, and then some. Eric says U.S. struck a deal with them, Donovan, just like they do with everyone except Black Americans. Yep.
Yeah, they're calling them the buffer class. They're going to be the class above us, but separate from white supremacy. I mean, that's the buffer class that everybody's starting to talk about.
Pioneer says a peer, quote unquote, is supposed to be someone of your demographic. They should be of your same race, educational, and socioeconomic status to really be your peer. So, right. You don't have anybody like that sitting on a jury, then is it a jury of your peers? No. I mean, it's just a fact. You know, a lot of times when people sit on a jury and they see Black people on the stand or fighting for their lives or their freedom, and they already like, they look guilty to me. I'm just going to say, you know, and then God forbid it involves, you know, one of their people, you know, that was the victim. Oh, it's a wrap.
Yeah, and especially, and like I said, I'm not against tattoos. I don't have any, but when you mark yourself up, that, you know, in an all-white jury, that feeds into the stereotypes of, oh, he's a gang member or, you know, just out there in society. Guilty.
Yep. Hello, Nancy. How you doing? It says trucker saw signs going in Pasto. And Jeremy says, we are the only people that can't be kicked out of the country, so we would be a real threat on the playing fields. Americans get kicked out of apartments and houses. Refugees get moved in. He said a Shiner, Section 8. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to have a lot of people getting moved out and a lot of people getting moved in. A lot of these landlords are probably going to say, well, I'll sign up to help, you know, and I'm taking Section 8 because they know a lot of those people are probably going to be moving in. So it's a vicious hustle. Hey, Angela, how you doing? And you say, hashtag Donovan was right. And
I love it. Keep it coming.
Joel, how you doing? He says, all those Black people who voted for Jim Crow, Biden, and Democrats, how is that working out for y'all? Let me ask you something, though. Where are they at?
Have you seen any of them, Joel? I can't find a one.
We can't seem to find them. They like in hiding. They won't come and answer and say, well, we either we're still rooting for Joe or we were wrong. They're like, where are they at? If you can find them, to tell them, we'll send them a link.
I told Demetrius before we went on the show, come on, give Biden a chance. He's only been in there 7 months. But did all of his work within 30 days. Did all of what he did in 30 days.
That's what I'm saying. But he did stuff for all the people. So, and the church lady, how you doing? And Nancy say in Texas. Robin, how you doing? And the church lady says definitely didn't during Katrina. I know I was there. Yeah, I mean, it took them forever to even recognize that it was an issue. You know, Condoleezza Rice was buying Manolo Blahniks and golfing, and you know, and she a black woman. Now, I know she looks like a black woman, but damn, you got people really drowning and all kind of stuff, and y'all like, so what's for dinner? You know? And Gerard says, and you have to be registered to vote to be in the jury pool.
Oh, here in California, if you got a driver's license,
yeah,
you
that's
are
what I'm
eligible.
saying.
Yeah, you're eligible to be.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who get them and be like, I ain't showing up to that. Hello, Sunlight. How you doing? A church lady says, took us years to get FEMA. Yep, drug their feet. I mean, and I mean, even with the stuff that went on in Houston, Hurricane Harvey, and even the freeze, people are still waiting for assistance. But guess you got to be a refugee from a different country or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Sunlight. I'm still working on that thing with the YouTube thing. I don't know why it's not letting people comment, but I'm trying to fix it. So bear with me.
And the Pioneer says, preach, Queen. The Afghans are getting help and getting it much more quickly than the victims of Katrina. They've done more airlifts these past week than for y'all of the Katrina disaster. Yeah, I mean, you had people in refrigerators floating in the water. I mean, it's horrible. But yet these people
at the Superdome waiting for help. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then think about, they said that within a week, the military moved over 80,000 people. 80,000. Yeah. So wait a minute. 80,000 people helped the United States in a 20-year period? 80,000 advisors and interpreters. Something's not adding up when you look at those numbers, okay?
Yes, indeed. And thank y'all for the donations. Lee Wilson, how you doing? Thank you. And Pioneer, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And let's see here. Let's see. My comments, they jump up sometimes. All right. And he says, Black people needed help during Katrina, didn't get it. And roses and how do you say that? I know it's a flower. I want to say pennies, but it's not like that. I know it's a flowers, but how you doing, roses? Says, don't spend money at these Afghan Asian businesses. Yeah, but you know what they doing, though. They going to set up shop right smack dab in the middle of the hood, selling us all kind of stuff we don't need, and we going to be up in there, unfortunately. And Sunlight says, yes, I remember that refugee argument. I lived in New Orleans when Katrina hit. Wow. And the church lady says, once we gave them our money, we gave them our power. You better believe it. Thunder says, the way you hold them accountable is simple. Do what the Caucasian do when a politician doesn't fall in line. They have given us so many examples and ways of handling the situation. Exactly. They should.
Are you talking about what happened with the insurrectionists at January 6th? Because guess what? That was a message sent to the politicians.
Yes, indeed. And the Pioneer says Asians didn't even have to fight for or advocate the congressional bill protecting them. It's my understanding that white congressmen devised it and Asian congressmen just got on board naturally. Yeah, it didn't even have a hard time passing the Senate like the anti-lynching bill, you know. And Robin says the white farmers have once again snatched the money allocated for black farmers from black farmers. I'm sure some of these black farmers voted in Biden. You know they did. You know, just give them a chance. We're going to hold them accountable. And now your farms are drying up. And Anastasia says, and Kamala Harris told us in no uncertain terms that she wasn't doing anything strictly for black people. And it wasn't even in uncertain terms. No, she was clear. Okay. I'm not just going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No. So she was clear. And the light bringer, I like that. How you doing? It says they are trying to bring more white faces to America. Yes, indeed. I mean, and Trump, he said it too, right? It's like, let's bring some from these European countries and not the shithole countries, what he was calling, you know, the black countries, right?
Yeah, hey, just a thing, you're freezing up a little bit and you're pixelating, so just be aware of that.
Am I?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but like right now you're frozen, but your stream is kind of pixelated, but go ahead. You're still going.
Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on, let me see something really quick. Yeah, I see it. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that, but hopefully y'all can still hear me until this thing clears up. All right, so I'm looking how it froze up too. That's very unflattering. All right. So Thunder says, when in doubt, do like the white man. Okay. And Pioneer says, I was homeless before, and most of the homeless programs out there are managed by white people and nonprofits who are taking government monies by the billions. That's where most of the money is going. Yes, indeed. And the light bringer says the Taliban and America are working together, always have been. And NIE says Spirit Airlines will put your spirit on the line. I don't care what y'all say. I like me some Spirit Airlines. Okay, that's what I'll be looking for first. And Facts Not Feeling says the weapons were left in Afghanistan on purpose to keep that region destabilized so it can threaten Russia and China that border Afghanistan. USA did it on purpose. You right about that?
Well, the thing is, Facts Not Feelings, I agree with you, but within a week, these people threw down their weapons. So if I was China or Russia, these people do not scare me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. G, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Let me actually try to go out because I see I'm still frozen. So I'm gonna go out. Keep going. I'll be right back.
All right. So the light bringer, we need to turn away from what is going on with them and concentrate on self. Yeah, we've been saying that for what, 4 to 6 years now that we've been doing these shows and podcasts and all that other great stuff. If we could really do that and stop worrying about other people, I think that we would be better off. Nobody's coming to save us, you guys. And we've said this over and over again, as you guys already know. Le Wilson, thank you for the donation. Hey, Queen, DK, and family. Welcome to the conversation. Please give us your expertise. All right. Robin Cooper, my favorite. All these Black people being evicted, but we can take in refugees, house them, fund them with assistance to set up businesses. It's crazy. Yes, it is. Okay, yeah, D, your pixelation looks totally sharper now. So,
yeah, I'm not really for sure what that was about. Sometimes it gets to tripping. So forgive me, y'all. Forgive me.
I'm at Robin Cooper.
Robin Cooper. All right, let's see. So what you read all the way to, okay, well, it says all these Blacks.
Yeah, I already read that one.
Okay, and so Sunlight says, shaking my head, no boots or feet. Remember Kunta Kinte, right? And Carla says, the Taliban's are the Afghans. Do not be tricked, y'all. And with the latest results of the census, the government is bringing them in to bring up their numbers. Absolutely. I'm telling you, I know firsthand that's exactly what's going on. Anastasia says, Thomas Sowell calls them middleman minorities. And Moni says, Donovan is a question of what they are going to do next. It needs to be done in a hurry because people are going to be outdoors. And I think this is wrong and totally inconsiderate.
Absolutely.
Yep. And Rosa says, Carla, very true. I'm sure that some of them will be taught to murder us again, just like how we taught them to fly planes. Okay. And Nancy, you say Afghanistan language. Okay. And then, wait a minute. Did I skip another one? Okay. Let's see. And the Pioneer says, come on, y'all. We need to show King and Queen some appreciation for taking time to read and comment on all these comments. Y'all see the way our sister is straining her beautiful eyes. Show some love. Well, I thank you. I don't know where my glasses are. I really have misplaced them somewhere.
You never seem to have your glasses when it's showtime. Why is that?
You know what? I think they're in my car. And my car, my brother has had for 2 weeks. He left it at his rental property. He says, do you need your car? I'll be back next week. I'll just leave it in the garage. I'm like, yeah, sure. So that's where my glasses are. They're in my car. But thank you. I appreciate that. And I thank you guys for all the donations. Everything helps with keeping this show going, New Black Media and all that. So much love and appreciation. And thank you, Pioneer, for the reminder. And Thunder says, what's more the Democratic Party to do to show us that they don't give a damn about us? Let's hit them where it hurts. Take our money out of the system, spend it with Bob, and hold Black-owned businesses and hold the damn vote. Yes, and hopefully more people will listen to that now, right? Because before we couldn't tell them nothing. We couldn't say nothing to them. Oh, no, we got to get Trump out of there. So maybe now people's eyes are open.
Vote blue no matter who. All these stupid sayings that make no sense. The lesser evil and all this other stuff. No, what we're telling you, we're not telling you to vote Democrat or Republican. We're telling you to vote your interest. If we start doing that, maybe they won't take us for granted.
Yes, indeed. And facts, not feelings, that separation is the answer for Blacks. Witness the response to Katrina, Haiti earthquakes, 2008 financial crisis, pandemic, housing eviction of 2021. Black people need to separate on all levels. Yeah, and stop spending our money with people who are definitely like, you know, all the money we give to everybody else, you would think they would say, well, damn, let's create some housings, you know, housing for Black people, since they make up most of the homeless population. They're like, shit, we want to thank y'all for making it possible for us not to be homeless. So separation is definitely key. And Rosie, you say, I didn't vote for Biden. I didn't vote for Biden either, or Trump. And the church lady, you say, there are older generations that voted him in. And a lot of them still arguing that, you know, give them a chance. And I just don't even talk to them no more because they make my blood pressure shoot up. And Sunlight, you say, and FEMA hasn't changed one bit. Nope. I mean, even with this freeze, I've heard a lot of people just getting denied. You know, it's like, why y'all taking people through hoops of fire? Oh, you didn't fill it out right. Oh, you missed. Okay, my house has been destroyed by this freeze due to no fault of my own. But yet I got to jump through all these hoops of fire to fill out a help so y'all can help fix my house. It's just stupid, but it's a fix, right? Antoine says, foundational Negro, DOAS, survivors of America's slavery. Wake up, we are not Americans. This is our land, so we must take it back by any means necessary. Yeah. And Sunlight says, Donovan, thank you. And Rosa says, that was the whole damn country of Afghanistan running to get a free ticket to the U.S. That's where I was like, damn, that don't look safe. It was just crazy just to witness, like all those people on the tarmac and then finally all those people on the plane. Is like, what's really going on? Fight for Black says, hey, Demetra and Donovan. Some con artist by name of Kimberly Klasick is trying to con Black folks in Baltimore. She wants a cushy congressional job, but not talking reparations. Well, you know, she's a Republican girl. You know, she's a right-wing Black woman, and she know they ain't gonna put her in there. She talking about reparations for Black people. But, you know, she's challenging that, whoever's in Baltimore, I can't remember who it is at this point.
Kwame Mafuse.
Yeah, there you go. She's challenging him, but it's like, well, you know, and now her and Candace Owens are in a $20 million lawsuit battle. She's suing Candace Owens because Candace Owens is raccooning just a little bit more than she is. It's ridiculous, to be honest with you. Carla, you said the government doesn't give a damn about Black people. We are the foundational Black Americans here. Yes, indeed. And Moni says, and then meet your own Donovan, stock up on your own water and all your supplies for your household, as you're going to need it, as it's going to be another winter with no help from the Democrats. Yes, indeed. Or, you know, Republicans for that matter. And Carla says, do not buy from them. Y'all, you ain't got to tell me twice. Jeremy, you say it's all adding up, Donovan, just minus Black people. Barbara, how you doing? You say, right. In fact, not feeling since January 6th was a mess. Yeah, I think if they would have did it for other reasons, then I could kind of say, oh, okay. But they did it based on a lie, right? Trump was like, I'm still the president, you know. But, you know, if they would have turned up behind a lot of this other stuff that was going on, they'd be like, oh, okay.
Right. But think of the message that was sent to these representatives. I'm talking about the white representatives, not the Black representatives. What are they still talking about now? Trump and this, that. A lot of them won't even vote to do the inquiry on January 6th because they're afraid of losing their power and their seats. They're sending a message saying, you work for us. Don't. As a matter of fact, they have a guy on audio that's in jail right now. He's been in jail for a while now. That said, don't make us come back here.
And then they tried to. A dude tried to go back there last week. So, and then the cop that shot that white woman that ran through the window, he's a Black man. And he said he's been in hiding. They just now identifying him. So imagine what he may go through, because they're mad that she was shot. Like they felt like she was within her rights to do that. Okay. And the church lady says, I'm half Korean. No, Carla, I make sure I go to either Black or Korean hair spot. Okay. And Gerard says the U.S. should send one of the hospital ships to Haiti. They sent it to New York for the pandemic, and it was barely used. I think they sent it to California as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, wait. You expect America to send a relief boat to help Black people? When has that ever happened?
And when they gonna hold them accountable if they don't? You know, well, we ain't gonna hold them accountable. A lot of us probably like, oh, the Afghans, oh, it's so horrible. What's going on with them? You know, we change our little profile pictures. You know, it helped to Afghanistan. It's like, where's the one that says help to Haiti?
Because even when the Haitians were caught by the Coast Guard coming to the United States, they didn't even put them on the boat. They just told the boat that they were in to go back. They wouldn't even let them on the Coast Guard cutter to put them and send them, take them back there. They said, whatever little bathtub you're in, float it that way.
They sure did. And Carla, you say the Black farmers are still fighting for their checks. Yep. And Mona says Donovan has gotten bad even in Michigan, even though they try to give out Section 8 and things like that. But a lot of these slumlords won't even keep their places fixed up and have you living bad. But I always say too, if you're living in a place like that, you have rights. You have rights. Report them. They have to answer to somebody. They can't just take the government's money and your money and have you living in the slum. Report them.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Okay, they're giving out Section 8, whatever. Okay, that's fine, whatever. But what are you going to do when they stop giving out Section 8? When are we going to say, you know what, I got to do for myself? Because when you rely on somebody else to feed you, that very same person can starve you. And
they do starve you. And Thunder, thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate that. It says the two most powerful things we have are our dollars and our votes. Stop giving them away and not demanding something in return. Yes, stop it immediately. And Gerard says thousands of Haitians are homeless from that earthquake and many need medical attention. Right, but we ain't even talking about Haiti anymore. We're like, oh, it's so sad. But we haven't even talked about it anymore. And Carter says, so y'all, what are we going to do against the influx of refugees from the border and abroad? Well, I think you've been saying it very well here. We need to, for one, stop giving our money away. And then when we keep and save our money, build our own businesses and communities. That's what we need to start doing and get on the same page politically. Stop voting for people that aren't doing anything for us. Like I said, we talk about all the time. You got your Maxine Waters and some people are going to get mad, but whatever. Sheila Jackson Lee's and all those people, they haven't really moved the ball for their communities at all. But we keep voting those people in. And so, I just know if somebody said white people, politicians don't act right, they get them out of there. Look at Gavin Newsom in California. I don't necessarily have too much of a problem with his politics, but white folks are mad. They mad because he won't completely get on their page, and they have recall, or they're trying to recall him. They have issued a recall that's on the ballot. When does that vote go for? This week? Next Tuesday?
Yeah, next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. I already voted, yeah. And I voted to get rid of them. You want to know why? I don't believe in career politicians. I don't.
Well, I don't have the ability to vote for Gavin Newsom, but if I did, I would vote to keep him in. What's the alternative? Larry Elders?
Yeah, but how do you come up with $500 million to pay for people's back rents, which I'm totally supportive, but you don't have any money to support Black people?
Well, we know, especially California, their homeless population is more Black people than anybody. So if they're giving all that money away, that's going to help some Black people. I'm not talking about trickle down economics, but Gavin Newsom has done a great job in comparison to the governors that we've had in the past. And so I don't know. I'm just like, I get it though, but that ain't Black people or Mexicans spearheading that recall. Is white people. It's the Republicans who are spearheading that to get rid of Gavin Newsom. And so, I don't know what it means to you, but California under Gavin Newsom was the first to pass the Crown Act, which says leave Black people alone in their hair. That California led that. California also led the moratorium on the death penalty because he said that we know disproportionately Black people make up the death row here in California, anywhere. So he says, as long as I'm governor, we're not pulling a switch on anybody because of this very flawed system. And so that's why I kind of get mad when people say, especially when I hear our people say, I'm voting against Gavin Newsom. Is he perfect? No, he's not perfect, but goddamn it, not no Black man is going to die under the death penalty. But you get some of these other people in there, including your Larry Elders, who is trying to run for governor. I guarantee you they're going to get rid of that moratorium and they're going to start frying Black people again. That's just food for thought.
No, absolutely. And like I said, he's done some great stuff. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is I don't like career politicians, and I voted for the porn star that was running for governor. So hey, it is what it is. But here's the point: if you like the vote or not, whatever your vote is, you have to work for my vote. He didn't work for my vote, so that's where I'm going at.
Right. I mean, you wrote your better interest, but he had me sold on when he said we're not pulling a switch to kill Black people unnecessarily, which we know Black people, are everywhere you look have died unnecessarily and unjustly under death row, even though they were found to be not guilty and sufficient evidence backs up they're not guilty. So that's what had me sold. So anyway, Fight for Black, you say, Donovan, the Russians couldn't do it. And when the stupid U.S. military tried to subjugate Afghanistan, that didn't work.
Yeah, Afghanistan, it has a history and one of the only countries that has never been subjugated at all.
And Marty says, one thing I know, God don't like ugly and very little pretty. You will reap what you sow. The fact that a judge can vote to see you outdoors and it's a pandemic, I hope it returns to their families too. Well, and the Pioneer says, when the video and sound messed up, do like Neely Fuller Jr. and blame it on the usual suspects. Laugh out loud. Yeah, sorry about that, y'all. Big Cannon, how you doing? He says, hello, everybody. I just wanted to say I always feel that it's more of us than them because they wouldn't work so hard to destroy us. They lie about everything. They're lying about the numbers. Yes, I believe that is true too. LeBron, how you doing? Just bringing in Afghans will backfire on the Democrats. They will likely vote Republican once they get set up.
Well, yeah, LeBron, I say this all the time on the show. You look at the Asians and you look at the Hispanics. Half of them vote Republican. They come in democratically, to get into the country and do all that other stuff. But when they get going and get their business and stuff, they turn Republican. And that's just how it is. And you're right. The Afghan's going to come in and do the exact same thing.
Yes, indeed. And the church lady says, we are forced all by ourselves. They're trying to keep us down. But in the end, we will prevail. And we are the race that can't dominate in population, creativity, or favor. We are the race with the sauce. Yes, indeed. And one who cares. How you doing? And Roses, you say the church lady, you know it. And Pioneer says, people need to understand who these Afghans are. Most of them are descendants of the racist Aryans who were on their way to India to conquer the Black Indus Valley civilization. All right, come on with the knowledge. And Moni says, Donovan, some of these federal programs can have you in inhabitable living. In my apartment building, a man was brutally stabbed. One lady was allowed to die in body decomposing, and it's been on the local news. Well, damn. Church lady says, yes, indeed, sis Roses. And Kevin, how you doing? Says United States companies manufactured and sold the weapons to both sides, and Americans are acting like Afghanistan is a U.S. territory. Ridiculous to me. This is a typical distraction from doing what the new Congress was elected to do. This is a battle with cops, courts. There is a battle with cops, courts, and economic inequality. Rather, all these are the must of today.
But knowing that we have Black representatives and all kinds of colored representatives in there, why go to the CBC's webpage and see what they're concentrated on. They will tell you this is their 60th anniversary of their inception. So they're going around the country, which is basically no more than a vacation for them. And they're having listening parties. They're going to listen to all the problems. Why would you run for office and not know what to do and what needs to be done? Let's be real, you guys. Most Black congressional people are not elected by white folks. Okay, they don't get in there by white folks. So why would these people not know what to do?
Right. The church lady says, I told people Biden was going to make them wish Trump was back in. Yes, indeed. A lot of people are starting to have buyer's remorse. You also say we need to separate and quit begging for acceptance in a world that don't like us. If we move our money and keep our money in the community of color, then they will listen to us. Silence is power. You better believe it. Fight for Black. It says, folks, I don't know how this passed me, but there is a group, they're not pushing the jab on the Amish community. And they're probably saying because they're kind of isolated. I don't know. Sunlight says FEMA policy is to stall. Yes, indeed. And the church lady says we need to stop marching, protesting, and begging and let our actions speak for us. That's all the world's respect is action and power moves. Yes, indeed.
Ooh, wait, the church lady talking about stop singing and start swinging? Love it.
Yes, indeed. And I knew that was gonna happen. My comments were gonna jump up.
Kevin Johnson.
I know. I'm trying to figure out where it is though. All right, I'm gonna get to these comments for real. And Kevin says, "Oh yeah, pardon my manners. Greetings, family. No worries." And Chico, man, how you doing? Said this is the how the government moves other people over black people and the refugees. Tell black people, lift yourself up by the bootstraps. Yep. And the Pioneer says, I noticed that like many Italians, many Arabs and other Middle Easterners who are almost white, but not quite white, try extra hard to prove their whiteness by being extra racist. Yes. And Thunder says, our representatives need to have the same level of respect, quote unquote, for us as those Republican politicians do for their base. Penelope, how you doing? Says, how are they going to save Afghans and the homeless is sleeping on the sidewalks in California? Good question. We want to know too. Robin says, Ashley got what she deserved. If she was black climbing through a window at the Capitol, she would have had 100 holes in her. She had an open casket. Her husband should be grateful. Let it go. I agree. Honeydew, how you doing? He says, don't leave out Philadelphia receiving Afghans. Hey, y'all. Yes, indeed. They're also getting some as well. California, New York, I think.
Look at these areas that have a lot of black people in them. Isn't that funny that they're strategically placing these Afghans in these areas where they can set up because they're getting all the resources they need to set up and be successful?
Mm-hmm. Free Mind, how you doing? It says it's not about do for self. It's about earning a living wage and rooting out systemic racism. Well, I mean, yeah, it is about doing for self because when we start doing that, then I kind of think the systemic racism will root itself out. But until we get on one page, it's going to always be there, right? Not saying that we initiated systemic racism or we're keeping it alive per se, but there's some things that we can do, and doing it for self is one of them. Robin says, don't support them. The refugee won't prosper if we don't support them and hold your vote. No tangibles, no vote. Yeah, because you already know white folks ain't really going to do business with them like that. Asians, Hispanics, everybody else, they not, but they know we will. There's a new shop that opened up around the corner, you know, and there we go.
And you guys got to remember these Afghans that they're airlifting here, these are people that are coming here with the money that you sent over there over a 20-year period. So remember, we were propping up a very corrupt regime for the last 20 years. So all this money, our tax dollars, have been funneled to all these interpreters and people. And they're going to come here with, I mean, they put it in banks and stuff and they watered it down. They're going to come here and set up with the very money that we gave them. How else are they getting out of the country? Think about that. How else are they getting out? Because if they were a regular Afghan out of the hills, you're not getting out.
Yes, indeed. And the X Studios said it's been a roller coaster ride for Black people since Joe Demon got in office. It's been justice for Kawan to get rid of Dr. Seuss and now help Afghanistan. What will they come up with next? Oh, I'm scared to ask. And Arkithia, how you doing? He says, you signed a petition. No, Larry. And then if you don't mind me asking, why did you sign a petition? I think you talked.
No, she signed the 1 million black men against Demetra K petition. That's what she meant.
Why did you sign a petition? If I think you're, I know what you're talking about the recall against Gavin Newsom in California. And Rosa says, Robin, that's what I'm saying. Don't support the businesses. Fight for Black says, Donovan, here's a digital clap for you, brother. And Moni says, at the end of the day, I'm tired of talking on these low life crooks. I'm ready to see action. But as this vibrant variant, I think it gets serious enough, trust and believe they're going to have to pass something. Free Mind says, if Newsom gets voted out, the country is over. Yeah, I think it's a big mistake. This is just me personally. I think it's a big mistake to vote Gavin Newsom out. It just is. And Free Mind say, if Newsom is out, Blacks will get nothing ever again. I agree with you too. I totally agree with you. And then Pioneer says, I agree with you, Queen. If I were in California, I wouldn't help racist Caucasians get rid of a white governor that is halfway helping Black folks, even if he's not doing everything we want. Yeah. Like I said, anybody who's well-versed on the death penalty and death row, you know who occupies that the most is our people. And he said, there's a moratorium. As long as I'm in office, we're not killing nobody on death row. So be it. And he specifically cited because there's a flaw in the system and it disproportionately affects Black people. He said that. So I don't know. Y'all do it what you want. Yes, fight for Black. I'm trying. Arkithia says Newsom is not for the African American community. Well, would you agree? Not killing people on death row is for the African American community, even because death row disproportionately in prisons in general disproportionately make up that of Black people. That's got to count for something, right? So do we throw out, Gavin Newsom, even though he had a moratorium on the death penalty, and get what?
Oh, that's Schwarzenegger. We got to get the governor back in now. Execute a bunch of people.
Y'all gonna mess around and get Caitlyn Jenner ass up in there. That's what's gonna happen.
She's only running for the tax cuts. That's all she's running for.
Yeah, right. You're gonna be pulling a switch on y'all Black asses out there. And Free Mind said gentrification and the tech boom was about turning California red. Absolutely. San Francisco, up north, the tech boom has really wiped out the art community and all of that, if you will. People are being moved out of, their housing that they've been in forever. Same thing with Los Angeles, but the tech industry has just completely taken over San Francisco, Oakland, and all those areas. And it's completely about turning it red. What about people who don't want to be involved in the tech industry? What about everyday people? Where are they supposed to live? But they didn't like that Gavin Newsom was progressive. Now, if you want to know who a progressive politician is, that is Gavin Newsom. And I don't live there anymore. I do have all my family is in California, but it's discouraging to know people are uneducated when it comes to voting for certain things. Like, who else is on the ballot out there that would do a better job than Gavin Newsom is doing?
There's over 32 people on the ballot.
So not only that, that's another reason why I think we need to get educated. You got all those goddamn vote splitters on there. You got a progressive governor in already that's helping people. I know for a fact that he sent Californians money. A lot of Californians are getting $600 to $1,000 outside of the stimulus, outside of the unemployment extension. But you want to vote them out? Why? Especially when there's the moratoriums or the evictions are up. People are going to be homeless. Why would you vote that man out?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, California is the only state that used its own money to help its own citizens.
So he's got to go. Why? I'm just asking because I can't vote for him. I wish I could, but I can't. Anyway, and a fight for Black says Larry Eldridge is perfect white man's Black man. Yeah, he's gonna get in there and he's gonna harm Black people. I don't know if he'll get in there, but he's running nevertheless. And Penelope says, why can't England take in Afghan refugees? They probably don't want to.
Well, the thing is, wasn't England colonized Afghanistan, a part of Afghanistan? So they definitely can't go back there.
And Arkithia says, I will not vote for Larry. Okay. And Sunlight says, Larry Elder has bigger problems. Laugh out loud. Yeah, then he, I can't remember what it was. Something recently, he broke some law. They found out he was doing something crazy.
Yeah, the way he did his taxes or something with his business or something. Yeah.
Right. And Penelope says, why can't Japan take in Afghan refugees?
Okay, I'll tell you why Japan can't take in refugees. Japan is a monolithic nation. They do not have anybody else living there. I mean, people live there, but you're not a citizen unless you are Japanese. This is why America has the problems that we have, because we have different ethnic groups within it, and we're all fighting for our piece of the pie. Japan is monolithic. They are one nation, one people. That's why.
Fight for Black says, what was going on in California with that group looking to legalize pedophilia? See, that's another thing. The pedophilia was never going to be, well, I'm sure there's some groups, maybe like NAMBLA or something like that. But see, the argument is this. I'm going to try to explain as best I can. So it wasn't that California was trying to legalize, not California, okay? They weren't trying to legalize pedophilia. They were changing some of the laws that say that if you were 18 years old and you have sex with a 15-year-old, you should not have to register as a sex offender. You made a mistake. A statutory rape is what they're saying it still is, but you shouldn't have to register, being that it's so close in age. Is also on that particular law speaks to certain type of sex acts between the LGBTQ community that should not be illegal, if you will, without having to be too graphic. I shouldn't be illegal, but never was it about pedophilia. I hope that makes sense.
Sodomy is still on a lot of books in a lot of states and in the military. So sodomy is a lot of different things.
Right. And Pioneer says there's an old saying, don't cut off your nose to spite your faces. There's a choice between a halfway decent politician and a straight up devil. I'm going to choose the halfway decent one. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, y'all know I don't be caping for none of these politicians, but Gavin Newsom was doing something specifically for Black people. And it's a shame that I'm just going to say it's a shame that anybody Black voted against Gavin Newsom, especially with what Black people are facing now. I just don't understand it. Anyway, Sunlight says, did Newsom give pandemic funds to illegal? Serious question.
Absolutely did.
He did, but did he also give pandemic funds to everybody else? So he didn't just give it to them. He gave it to everybody else as well. So you see what I'm saying? Why was it sexy that he gave it to illegals? No, but did he give it to everybody else too? I know for a fact in California, if the funds ain't dropped, they get ready to drop already. You know, the $600 to $1,000 for households, and if you got kids, it's $500 additional per kid. So I mean, you see what I'm saying? So like the Pioneer said, if you halfway decent and you're getting something out of it, who else are you going to vote in?
The porn star, do what I did. I voted my interest. The porn star got my vote.
Honeydew says, they will be white looking in about 2 generations. Yes, indeed. Talking about the Afghans. Arkita says, I don't feel safe in the United States with Biden in charge. I think that's a lot of people. And Penelope says, oh, our country, what? That Afghan, China, white cocaine, and poppy plants. Yes, follow the poppy seeds, right? Robert says, they're traitors to their own country. If they're not loyal to their own country, how much loyal will they be to the Democratic Party? Good question.
Thank you. To America, not just the Democratic Party, America.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's see here. I think I'm making some progress. All right. Because it jumps up, y'all. Okay, here we go. And Honeydew says, I was hoping to go after their drugs or something. Okay. And you also say, not drugs, rugs. Okay. Pioneer says, this is why I say intelligent Black people need to organize and build our own political party so we won't constantly argue over which politician we shouldn't be voting for or choosing the lesser evil. I agree with you. And Agony of Defeat, how you doing? He says they got their arms open wide, welcoming Afghans here in racist St. Louis right now. Yep. There's a lot of states that are like, hey, come on in. And I'm pretty sure St. Louis has their issues with homelessness, especially in regards to Black people.
And you also got to remember, when a state takes in these refugees, they are getting federal dollars to do that. Yep.
And Honeydew says GOP not Islamophobes now. Right. Okay, now they're not. And that's a good observation. And Penelope says,
wait. Didn't the politicians, especially the Republican ones, say that we will never forget 9/11 and what happened? What are we doing right now, bringing some of these people in here that helped attack and harbored the so-called people that attacked the United States?
Yeah. Penelope says, I keep saying Black folks need to vote third party. Yes, indeed. And Narketia says, Biden ran for office from his basement. I expect anything. Yeah, you know, he was citing not getting the COVID, right? Facts not feeling says, separate and do for self. Yes, indeed. The Pioneer says, Biden isn't making me wish Trump was back in, laugh out loud. Trump told the Proud Boys and racist militia to stand by, quote unquote. Did the Klan have to attack the ghetto for some of our people to stop supporting him? You talk about Trump? Well, you know, believe it or not, there's a lot of people who didn't live in the ghetto that supported Trump. And the X Studios, you say, in order for us to really get what we need, most of our energy needs to be invested in doing for self, and some of the energy should be lobbying and holding politicians accountable. Yes, indeed. And Facts Not Feeling says, yes, Donovan, they are rich. Arkita says, the Pioneer, good point. And Sumo Blackberry, how you doing? It says, Black First Family. It says, Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick blamed Black Texans for the Rona. He says, number one, 5.9 million whites. Number two, Latinos, 3.9, I think you meant. And then 3 million. And he said 1.9 million Blacks always follow the raw data. Oh, yes, indeed. And Arkithia is saying, yes. And I know that was in regards to the recall, but I forget what the question is now. So forgive me. And the X Studios says, so the way, if this government continues to ignore our needs, even if we are organized, we still have enough resources to continue to build ourselves independent from the government. Yeah, we got $1.3 trillion every year coming into the Black community in America. So we got something. We just need to stop giving it away, right? And son, how you doing? It says 99% street homeless in the U.S. are fentanyl addicts, and there is no solution for it. Large majority of them will die from fentanyl overdose or drugs-related violence. 99% of the street homeless people are on drugs. I don't know about that one. I mean, I could be wrong, but it sounds kind of high. And Pam is jamming. How you doing? And Health Light, how are you? Pioneer says Iranians, Pakistanis, Afghans. Most of these people are descendants of the racist Aryans who marched out of the Caucasus Mountains to attack the Black Dravidians of India thousands of years ago. Okay. Carla says 300 million per day. And Arkethi said no. And Kevin says every African born in America on death row gets more from that one man than the entire Congress. Yeah, but yet somehow he needs to go. Make it make sense. I mean, I'm just saying, it's frustrating to me. It really is. And I'm trying, because people can vote what they want, but it is really frustrating. It's like the man has put a moratorium, like Texas, they pull the switch all the time. Okay.
Well, what are they doing to be put on death row? What are they doing?
Well,
why aren't they following the rules?
Which is why he put the moratorium on, because he was like, the system is flawed. And we know who disproportionately gets is on death row. So
Tukey.
Black says, actually, if you want to have Newsom by the balls, quid pro quo, if we, the Black community, save you, what do we get? Yeah, I mean, and so far he's been saying, okay, let me look out for Black people. Started talking about reparations. Of course, it's just a talk, but of course, that pissed off a lot of right-wing people talking about reparations for Black people. And Cameron Jammer says, damn, Donovan actually called Caitlyn Jenner a she. I don't
really care, what a person's thing is. If that's what they want to be called, I'm going to respect that and just go with that, because, what else can you really do?
Okay. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Rosa says Gavin will stay simply because there are too many other people running. Yeah, hopefully they don't become vote splitters. I mean, I haven't heard of any real front runners. I've heard of Larry Elders, but I don't know how much in the front he was.
Well, and the funny thing about Larry Elders, and like I said, I know people think California is this progressive state and all this other stuff. Don't let California fool you. Remember when Tom Bradley ran for governor in the 80s? He was ahead 2 days before the election and stuff, and the results started coming in. White folks, Democrat and Republican, came out of the woodworks to put the white guy in.
Yes, and Arkethi said, I didn't get a dime. Well, I know the stipulation is if you make $75,000 or more as a single person or $150,000 as a couple, then yeah, you didn't get the extra stimulus. And so
I didn't get anything.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who did. And there's a lot of us, it was Black people who got some of that money. So I don't know. Is Gavin perfect? No, he's not. But damn, you had me at moratorium on the death penalty. I'm just saying. And Rosa says Larry Elders has a white wife, so it's obvious who he supports. Oh yeah, and they said he is the lapdog of. Is it what's that white boy on?
Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson and the other cat.
God, he's the other show. Hannity.
Sean Hannity. I was like, why can't I think of his name? Yeah, they say that's their boy. Robin says, and keep in mind, all of our people is not going to get on code. We just need enough of us nationwide to get on code. The rest will follow, or else. There you go. And I like that, or else. Penelope, you crazy. Talking about some Bruce. And Chico Man says, we already know that Kamala won't be speaking to Black people anytime soon, Naj. That ship has sailed with us. But the crazy part is, now, she calls herself a Black woman. Let's just go with it, right? Look how fast we done with Kamala, but all the mess Joe Biden done to us, we giving him chances. Hey, Jonelle, how you doing? Honeydew says, apparently I have a long lost family in Japan. Okay. And Sunlight says, Larry Elders is getting me too. So that's what it is, so to speak, for beating his ex-fiancée in 2015. I knew it was some...
Wait a minute. What had happened was this: he was watching What's Love Got to Do with It. He was getting some advice, and things went a little left. He thought he took the movie literally. Okay.
I knew it was something. I knew it was something crazy. I couldn't remember what it was. Right. Kara, how you doing? It says, Mr. Notification, Lordy. That's okay. We still here for a little bit. And we're going to switch over to topics in just a minute after I read all these comments. And Pioneer says, Brother Donovan is correct. Nippon, Japan is very xenophobic and racist against anyone not Nipponese. I know I jacked that up. It says, my question is, why are they allowed to be, and where is the push for diversity in Nippon? Well, who gonna make them? That's their country. Arkiti said, no. Now, fill me in, because, I'm lost now. And let's see here. Someone says, Dimitri, yes, I see the part was left out about everyone being included in the pandemic relief. See, I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, Gavin gave, immigrants money, but everybody else got some money as well. So it wasn't just them like a lot of other states.
But we should have got more. Damn it.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? And Kara says, did y'all talk about the moratorium yet? Yep, we're talking about it as we speak now. About it. The Supreme Court was like, there's nothing we can do. It needs to go back to Congress. And I don't know if Congress has done anything to this point, but.
And this is the second time they told Congress to do their freaking job.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Pioneer says, when you vote for your interest, sometimes it's not just about the money, but your safety as well. You can choose Trump over Biden for lower taxes, but if you're Black, then your safety would be in danger.
Well, George Floyd was murdered, and a bill has been stalled in Congress under Trump and under Biden. So you got to look at it. Again, white supremacy is white supremacy. So when I see a white person, that's all I see.
Yep. And Jonelle says, how are you going to invade a country on the base of a lie for profit, exit, and return in the name of vengeance, which is the Lord's, yet teach a whole Black nation to turn the other cheek and forget slavery and their Black Holocaust that's still going on, and not to mention yet you can't forget nor forgive the nation you invade in on a lie. I was talking to my father about that earlier. He said Joe Biden stood up there talking about we won't forgive or forget, and I don't know, we will get revenge or whatever it is. We'll come find you. And I'm like, well, how does that sit with Black Christians or any Christian? We won't forgive or forget, and we coming after you. All that is in direct contradiction to the word of God, ain't it? Make it make sense. But you make an excellent point, though. And Rick, how you doing? He says, squirrel moment. What happened to the George Floyd Policing Act? That seems to be so 3 months ago to me now. What George Floyd Policing Act? Which one are you talking about? I mean, I'm with you. Like, what happened, right? All of a sudden, oh, we need something, and now all of a sudden it's like, yeah, what's for dinner? Facts Not Feeling says, I said many weeks ago, Dems will get wiped out, midterms and next presidential elections. The Afghan issue was the nail in the coffin. You might be on to something. And Carla says, follow the money. Yes, indeed. Honeydew says, well, in Florida, they're giving capital murder charges to drug dealers that the user dies from fentanyl patch overdose. See, all that nonsense right there. So, I mean, should there be some jail time? Yeah, I guess, but the death penalty? I mean, they kind of took the where does the drug addict have any accountability in what happened to them, right? And Pioneer says, most people who are homeless are not on drugs, but do consume alcohol and smoke, but that's not their main problem. Most chronically homeless people have serious mental and personality problems. Yeah, there's some other things going on, but as far as most of them being on drugs,
here in California, they are moving the homeless by gunpoint, and they're offering the ones that can, home in the hotels or wherever they're going to do with them. So they are giving them housing, but the problem is the ones that have really bad mental issue problems, they can't stay in the hotel. So those are the people that are kind of still going because they have really, really bad mental.
Yeah, they got some real things going on. And Kevin, you say, and Africans born in America might want to have the goal of setting up African interests based on lobby offices. When Africans born in America start making Wall Street money, like Superfly, we might have to hire them to protect our interests. Okay. And Honeydew says, I can't talk about squirrels right now. I had a run in with one. The gangster and shit worse than raccoons. Yeah, you don't want those type of problems, okay? Oh, nothing will ever beat my run in with a pit bull, though. Nothing. Traumatized. And let me see here. Pioneer. Oh, wait. Oh, because I was like, what happened to my comments? They jumped up. Okay, here we go.
Roses and pennies.
Got it. Says, I live in California, born and raised. Although I did not receive a stimulus, I am so thankful that many of our people did.
Absolutely. What side? Absolutely.
Yep. And Pioneer says, Brother Donovan, California ain't fooling me because it didn't seem liberal, quote unquote, when I was there. It looked like a third world nation where you were either wealthy living in the hills or poor on the street. Yeah.
That's reality. Yeah, that's the reality.
Yeah, you can be driving from Venice Beach, you know, where it's kind of mixed crowd of people. And then you go into this really nice neighborhood, Santa Monica. And then just like you blink your eye and it's like tents, homeless tents everywhere. And it's like, golly, just like literally across the street.
But they are cleaning it up. So if you guys look it up on YouTube, you'll see where they're just at gunpoint. They're moving these people out. It's gotten to that point.
It's sad, really, because where are they going, right? And Agnew Defeat says, only thing progressive about California is Hollywood, and they're just acting, just saying, well, I mean, yeah, it's progressive in that aspect. But if you really, I'm a Californian born and raised myself. I've only been in Houston since October. So, but Gavin Newsom is one of the more progressive governors that we've had. I can't think of any other governor in my lifetime in California that.
Well, Gray Davis was progressive. That's one of the reasons that they did a recall on him. See, isn't it funny?
Gray Davis kind of ran us into the ground financially too.
Well, he did, but that's because we were in a recession. So I mean, a lot of states were doing that, but that's when the Republicans do a power grab when they governor is progressive. Notice that these two progressive governors got recalled all of a sudden.
Right. But I'm talking in regards to Black people. I can't think of one in my time where the governor was as progressive in regards to Black people as Gavin Newsom.
What? Ronald Reagan did great things for Black people. Didn't he take away the right to carry a gun in California?
Stupid.
Didn't he do that for Black when the Panthers were out there exercising their rights? And he said, "Okay, we got to change that law."
Right. And Carla says, Donovan, do you think martial law will happen after they settle in the Afghanistan?
Absolutely not. Absolutely. You mean here in the United States or in Afghanistan? Because in Afghanistan, it could happen because those people, it's a free-for-all. But here, never.
Yeah. And Honeydew says left. And Sunlight says that Donovan laugh out loud, right? See what had happened was exactly. And Pam is jamming says, check out the headlines. Black voters will be the key to stopping the Gavin Newsom recall efforts. Just vote no. They only need us for the votes. I have a problem with that. Yeah, but we've already known that Black people are the pivotal deciding factor in many elections, and California is no different. Even though it's about 6% Black people in California.
I think it's down to like 4 now. People are leaving in droves.
Yep. So. That's kind of where it's always been. But at least
real quick, I got breaking news. Sirhan paroled.
What? I read that.
RFK assassin Sirhan wins parole with support of 2 Kennedys.
Wow, because they said Gascon, he wasn't gonna be in favor for him getting out, but he wasn't gonna try to stop it. Sirhan has been in prison for shooting Robert Kennedy, rather.
Allegedly. How can you shoot somebody and you're in front of him and he's got a bullet hole in the back of his head?
Well, he was there, right? So they said it was him. Whether he did it or not, been there since 1968. Is a very old man. Last time he went up for parole was 2016, where they said no, and they said they weren't going to oppose it. So that's actually kind of shocking. Like, what can he do now, right?
Wait. Remember, Sirhan is from where? The Middle East. Is this a tie-in to kind of think about it?
Might be on to something. Viper Black says, shut up, King Donovan. Right. Donovan ain't got no sense, Robin. Then Parmesan says, what money are you talking about? The $600? I didn't get anything. Yeah, so people who were making, I guess, above the threshold, which is 75,000 for your single, 150,000 or so for couples. Maybe that's why. But I do know people personally who got some money. So I wasn't one of them, even though I still would qualify.
Okay, I'll send you your check. I will send you your check. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got my check over there. Sunlight says our safety is no different than it was under Trump. Exactly. Like, that's that propaganda. Oh, we're in danger. We've always been in danger, okay, since that Middle Passage. That was very dangerous. As Pioneer says, I remember the first time I went to California, I would meet Black men on the street who constantly just, quote unquote, got out of jail. I realized how racist California was with locking Black men up. And then the other part of that, too, is, then you got to report to a halfway house, and then you have parole stipulations, and they violate you if you don't have a job. It's just a vicious cycle. But it's not just California; it's everywhere, and it needs to change, right?
But Pioneer, isn't the worst thing you ever hear is when a Black man said, "I just got out of jail," and you ask him, "Well, what were you in jail for?" Child support.
Wow,
that's how bad the laws have gotten out here. Like I said, people think California's liberal. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled at all.
Facts, not feelings. He says, speak, sister. All right. He says, also, I talked to my parents about that. And Kevin, you say, I lived in Japan from 1973 until late 1974. It was the best experience I've ever had as a man. It was there that I realized the meaning of being free. True story. Okay.
Yes, Kevin Johnson, absolutely. I graduated high school in Okinawa, so I know exactly how you feel. I was there most of the 80s. And the good thing about being a Black man in Japan is they're monolithic people, don't get me wrong. But as a Black person, they really kind of leave you alone because number one, you're bigger than them and all this other stuff. But they kind of just let you be, But they still are racist. Don't get me wrong. They still, are kind of afraid of you and the stereotypes that the white man brought over there against Black men.
And Rick says, Donovan, you read my mind on George Floyd. And Pioneer says, when I was in San Diego, I almost got a ticket for jaywalking while crossing the street by a cop on a motorcycle. I realized Cali wasn't the spot for me. Laugh out loud. Don't see how y'all live there. Like I said, I was born in, Oakland. So I've been there my whole life up until recently. But yeah, I mean, California has its issues, but damn it, it ain't like Texas. I'll tell you that. It ain't nothing like these southern states. And Robin says the George Floyd Policing Act is sitting on the same shelf as the Emmett Till bill and the HR 40 reparations bill. Wait on it. Exactly. Well, because they know.
And that would be Nancy Pelosi's desk? Yes, it would.
Where is Nancy been? I haven't heard from her in a while. And let's see. And LaRon, you say those harsh fentanyl laws are targeting Black people who sell the drugs, but made to protect the white people overdosing on them. Yes, indeed. Now they got an epidemic, in their community, right? You're absolutely right. Honeydew says Pelosi was insensitive, but an issue with homelessness is a failure to thrive, if you will. It's like, come on, man, really? But in this country, it's supposed to be one of the wealthiest countries in the world and most progressive countries in the world. Why is that even the case, right? They talk about other countries being inhumane to their people, but it's like, well, isn't it humane with the stuff that people going on with people here? That's inhumane.
Unless they're Black.
Right. Well, yeah, because we're not human. And Thunder says, what I do is I show up to vote and leave the ballot blank in areas that don't benefit me. It shows voter turnout, but when they do the vote count, it will reflect my opinion that there was no choice. Yep. And that's a choice still, not to choose. And it's your girl. How you doing? So it's just dropping in to thumbs up and show love. I will catch the replay. All right. Now, yeah, you guys, if y'all can give us a thumbs up, I appreciate that. I guess it does something to the algorithms. What it is, I don't know. And Pioneer says another reason why homelessness is going up is because the society keeps getting more complicated. In the old days, anybody who could read could get a job to support themselves. Not so today, right? You need a master's degree to even get a $15 an hour job somewhere.
Yeah. They want these workers and they want you to have a master's degree, but they're paying $14 an hour?
Oh, you got me messed up.
And then benefits in 90 days.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mr. D's News, how you doing? He says, but they are housing illegal immigrants, clothing and feeding them. It must be nice. Yeah.
Where are they getting the money to do this? Because when it comes to black people, well, it's impossible to give you guys any kind of help and resources because we don't know who's who and you know, give me a break.
Mm-hmm. And Pam's Jeremy says Larry Elders is after California's soul. He's the devil. Is that his campaign slogan? Because I know Joe Biden was, we're fighting for the soul of America to drag it right to hell. Pioneer says, what it means to be liberal or progressive has changed over 50 years. It used to mean pro-black and women's rights. Now, any state that allows you to smoke weed is called a progressive, quote unquote, state. Yeah, you know, but along with them being progressive in that regards to weed, they need to free them. Free those people who are in jail over weed violations, right? Let these white people and these foreigners open up weed shops and stuff, but you got black people sitting in jail over a nickel bag of weed. Come on.
Right, and then the cannabis bill is sitting on, what's his name? The leader of the Senate?
Chuck Schumer.
Chuck Schumer's desk. It's sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk. It was on Mitch McConnell's desk because now he's the leader. He can only be the one that can bring it to the floor. It's sitting on his desk. What are they waiting for?
Well, you know, I don't know. What had happened was, and Thunder says if a bunch of people showed up to a store, look around, buy nothing, and leave, that would cause the store to update its inventory for them or close the store. Yes, indeed.
We've been saying that for years.
Yep. Laughing Star says homeless camps in LA equals favelas in Rio, shanty towns in Johannesburg.
Yes, and that's exact. You know, it's funny how laughing stock that you know, we think, oh, we're Americans and you know we're this and that. We went to South Africa and we saw Soweto, and to me it was no different than a ghetto or anything that's going on in the United States. It was almost the same exact situation. And think about it. Everybody had cell phones and everybody had satellite TV. What's the difference with black people in this country?
Yep. And Carly said, okay, thanks for letting us know. And the Pioneer says the Democratic Party tent is too big. They've taken on too many silly special interests like dope, smoking, and tree hugging that dilute the focus from black and women's interests. Yeah. Carly say, what the F? Honeydew says, I urge us to adopt if we can, if it's one way for us to fight racism. Does anyone realize that there's an acceptable amount of runaways and kidnappings from group homes before authorities are alerted? I am not surprised to know that at all.
Yes. How many years have we been putting the alarm out about young black girls missing in the United States?
Yep.
Where's the CBC and these progressive Democratic women drawing up legislation specifically to deal with young black girls being snatched up and missing?
They're too busy helping everybody else right now. But
do you see what I'm saying? It's like we have people in positions to do these things, and yet they get there, they do absolutely nothing, and they're women themselves.
Mm-hmm. So Carla, you say they knew that man did not kill Kennedy. Yeah, of course, you know, there's a lot of conspiracies and, you know, people saying there's no way he could have did it, but that's the man they had in there, you know, was it 53 years or so?
Yeah, because if you look at all of the research, and I'm a big Kennedy, I can tell you everything about John F. Kennedy killing and this guy's Kennedy. If all the witnesses said Sirhan Sirhan was in front of Kennedy, but he has a bullet in the back of his brain that the coroner said was shot less than 6 inches from his head. So how could that have been done?
Well, you know, allegedly he was there with a gun in his hand too. So, you know.
But he was in front. So how did that happen?
I know, but I'm just saying, you know.
But they never bring up the security guard that was behind them that did discharge his weapon.
Right. Needless to say, he's going to be a free man. What, he's got to be 80 something? Well, it's got to be, right? And Sunlight says, I'll trade Florida for California in a heartbeat. Florida sucks. Yeah, Florida is with the stuff for sure. Pioneer said, Donovan, you are correct. There are so many black men getting locked up over child support. I have a cousin who was locked up briefly over child support and tried to kill himself. Oh, no. It's insane. I hope everything's working out for him now. I know that is horrible. Rosa says, why does Florida suck? Shit. Florida is just as bad as Texas. The governor's like, who cares? We're not masking up. I mean, they have to be.
What kids? You want to protect kids? Absolutely not.
Yeah, they have to be sued, you know, by the cruise industry because DeSantis, that's who the governor is there. was like, well, we're not going to mandate that they wear masks on the cruise ship. And the cruise ship was like, yeah, okay, hold my beer. Sued them. And it was like, no, you're going to have to wear as vaccine, I think it was, be vaccinated to come on this cruise ship. So, he's just like, if they die, they die. The kids, the COVID everywhere. Texas, too. They're saying schools are left and right are closing in Texas because the COVID cases are doubling. So, yeah, Florida, they special. They say Florida. My sister, I got family in Florida, so I think I can say that. Agony of Defeat says, they did a study of where the most Karens live. California was number one.
Oh my God. Yeah, don't believe the hype. Yes. Like I said, these so-called liberals, Demetria, what do I say all the time? All these liberals that marched with Martin Luther King and fought for civil rights, why are their kids just as racist as the grandparents?
Yeah, they kept teaching it. Sunlight says the list is too long. It's racist, low wages, tourist economy, idiotic government, etc. Right, there you go. The X Studio says, where are they getting the money to do this? Oh, they're just printing it off, And I says, is California Karen Central? Yeah, it sounds like. I'm not surprised. The Rosa says, Karens don't bother me here in California. I've had a few run-ins with some Karens, but nothing too major, More or less some Hispanic Karens I've had.
Demetria runs into Karens on international flights.
They run into me because I don't care where we at. You're not gonna disrespect me. And Laughing Stock says this is why the census opposes Representative Tlaib's push for a separate racial classification for Middle Easterners, because they want to add the Afghan refugees to the white population numbers. Not surprised at all, because we saw the census data that America's getting very brown and they don't like it. And Robin says, but how will the baby mama get her child support if a baby daddy is locked up? I don't get this whole child support BS. I was never about that. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle, really. And Moni says, so my question is, why haven't the Black Caucus should have more pressure put on them to do something other than just sitting up kissing behind Republicans? Don't want them to remove filibusters, clearly. Well, we keep voting them in.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. There's only 13 votes that separate the control of the House between Republicans and Democrats. There's at least 53 congressional Black Caucus members. So what does that mean if you go by the numbers? So if Nancy Pelosi wants any of her legislation passed, if she wants any of it passed, and the congressional Black talkers stick together, they control the board. They control what goes through and what doesn't go through. But no, Nancy Pelosi doesn't even ask them. She already knows they're just going to go with whatever she puts on the floor. And that's how it rolls. And that's the questions we keep asking. You don't have to be in the majority to control the board. A pawn is a very powerful piece if it's moved strategically. But we don't do that because we got Black bootlickers sitting in Congress that give us symbolism. Because remember, we just got the hip hop legislation. Ain't that enough for you Negroes? They've acknowledged hip hop. Maxine Waters, who was saying that NWA and Dolores Tucker and all of them that were fighting and saying that music is misogynist and against women, they're now acknowledging hip hop, saying, oh, well, hey, we got to give them something.
She said, WAP. Now that's audacity. I think women should be bold. That is audacity. Talking about Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B's WAP. Old ass Maxine Waters up in her doggone 80s talking about some damn WAP. Okay. And Moni says, Demetria, I like that chain that you be wearing. It looks like the African continent. When did you get it? It's really beautiful. I've had it for a while.
Yeah, I think KRS-One gave you that when you came to the college.
I wish.
Okay.
I got it from some site. It's a Black-owned jewelry company. If I think of the name of it, I'll tell you guys about it. But yeah, I like it. I've actually seen quite a few other people wearing it. But yeah, thank you so much. James, how you doing? Says Demetria is my favorite host. Everybody should be watching. I've known James for most of my life. Since I was about 22, 23, I started working at Frito-Lay.
Oh, man, James, I'm sorry to hear that, brother.
Shut up, Donovan. Well, how you doing? And Robin says, we have a young teen in our area that has been missing since 2017. Wow.
A lot of these young black girls are being snatched up and caught in the sex trafficking and all kinds of stuff, and nobody's talking about that. There's no legislation being drafted to make them a protected class or any of that.
Yes, indeed. Pioneer says, since it's hard to feel sorry for you when you read so fast that even when both you and Donovan comment on our post, you still manage to gain on my latest post by only 2 to 3 comments. You know, I've just learned how to read fast by doing this, you know, so forgive me. I try to slow down, but I talk fast too. You also say, Brother Donovan, is that supposed to be a picture of you in the background? Yes, it is. It looks like a very younger version of Donovan. Honeydew says, I can go on and on about racism in Central Florida, and the blacks go along with it. Damn near can't fight against it. Yeah, trust me, I got relatives in Florida, and it's like, forget it. Thunder says, you will walk into a store, hand your money to the clerk, and walk out and go home and hope he will bring you something. That is crazy, right? You don't do that with your money. Why do it with your votes? Good point. And he says, why is hip hop celebrated? Yeah, I don't even know what that's about at all, that legislation. And Honeydew says, true, but some of their mentality is laid down to whatever whites say. Florida has a rich history that they hide, and much of Central Florida belongs to Indians and blacks. But do they know? Very few people know this.
Yeah, do you guys know that, what's his name, Jackson? Went down there and wiped out the Indians. What's his name? He was the 9th president of the United States. Andrew Jackson. He went down there and just dogged out the Indians in Florida. Yep.
And Robin says, if Maxine was my relative, she wouldn't be she would have been sitting in a nursing home talking about some WAP. Damn. Agnes Defeat says, most of these Democrats in the House are undercover Republicans, and a few are not even undercover. Absolutely. Yep, but people just go vote for him because they have a D by their name, right? Democrat. And he says, Donovan is a king, and I love him. I'm telling you, I'm auctioning him off. Y'all better come on with your money. Auction is still hot. I'm going to have to close it eventually. I might have to give him away for 58 cents. So I don't know what else to do. Because, you know, there's a shelf life. You know, he's getting older. And Amoni says, racism, Donovan passes for multiple generations. That's why when the oldest racist farts dies here, come the younger generation, even more racist, take it to the bank. It's not going to last with them. Bringing them. Okay.
Yeah. Remember Paul Ryan? He was the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
He's 2 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
They prep their people to be ready to take leadership. Black folks, we don't do that. We literally got to carry these black representatives out in pine boxes. And that's a problem in our community because we don't have the leadership that is going to move us forward. We have the leadership that wants to keep everything the same.
And it's ego and money. You know, I know what I'm doing. I don't need, ain't no wrong with what I'm doing. And they stay there and it's like, dude, you applying.
I'm Martin Luther King.
Yeah. Like, okay. And Honeydew says, I live in Daytona with an HBCU and no action against racism. Just stay in your place.
All right. I went to Embry-Riddle right there at Daytona Beach. Oh, beautiful area. Oh my God, I loved it.
And Amoni says, Donovan, my opening bid for the day is you $2,500. Okay. What's up? I got to put on a dance show to come to Michigan. $2,500, ladies. It went from 58 cents to $2,500. Look at that.
Yes. Yeah. Wait, Amoni, I forgot what city of Michigan you're in. I hope it's not Flint. I just hope it's not Flint.
I'm about to say, don't say nothing to mess it up, man. We doing good, okay? And X Studio says, I saw that hip hop legislation on CNN article. The title was Hip Hop Legislation is the latest symbolic gesture that doesn't improve Black lives. I said, where was the title on this title on Juneteenth? Yeah, this is the first I've heard of it. Donovan speaking about it.
Yeah, you know, isn't that funny? X Studios, even CNN and all the major news things, they can't even spin it the way they want to do it. They know it's useless legislation out to appease who? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not going to improve our lives. It doesn't do anything for us. I mean, they can't even spin it anymore.
I mean, and the parental advisory sticker came from the Democratic administration, that of Bill Clinton and Al Gore. Tipper Gore led the charge on 2 Live Crew was trying to get them in trouble behind, their lyrics, which are very explicit. I'm not saying they not.
And the funny thing was it backfired and people bought more records because they had explicit.
Yeah, but now they celebrating. So it's like, this is just bipolar, right? All right, Honeydew says, ooh, child. The Pioneer says, if you were serious about auctioning off Donovan, you'd have him in that cowboy hat. That's when he had the most bids. The cowboy hat, not the Speedos, okay? Yes, Pam is jamming 58 cents, but now it went up to 2,500. So we back in the money. Honeydew says, no way. And Carlin says, yes, another young black girls are missing in Chicago. Yeah, it's so many. It says 64,000, if I'm not mistaken, black women, girls, and children, I guess boys included. Honeydew says, damn, is where all the high value men went. Embry Riddle, stand up. Yes, indeed. And Pioneer said, Brother Donovan, we have the leadership, but most of them have been brought off, sold out. They are paid not to make waves and keep things as they are, just to go along with whatever agenda whites make. All right, so we got 10 minutes. I just kind of don't want to touch on this. Oh, it was 10 minutes or so. I want to touch on this really quick. Clearly we have a lot of things going on in our community. And this kind of conversation has been going around as far as, it's been going around a lot, I guess, why can't we, as black people, stay together, in relationships and things like that. But our ancestors, our, great grandparents and grandparents, I don't know about our parents so much, right? But definitely our great grandparents and our grandparents, they stayed together. So I just wanted to know, what do y'all think they're doing that we are not doing? What did they endure that we are not willing to endure? Like, what happened? What do you think, Donovan?
Well, again, and during their time, there wasn't a thing known as the Now movement or the feminist movement, things like that. I'm not saying that's the problem, but it is a big problem now because with the economics, that took the woman out of the household to help bring money into the household. But especially in the black community, we were always behind and we are still falling behind. I think that is one of the biggest problems because when it comes to couples, the biggest problem is finances and money. And when you don't have it, it creates problems within relationships, as we all know. And when you're black and you're young and you progress from what your parents are, you want different things and you want things that you should have that should be normal, but you can't have it for lack of resources. So I think one of the biggest problems is the economics have changed, inflation, they're coming for everything. And it's taking a toll on relationships because when the woman had to go and leave the house, be it if she wanted to or not, to help the family, that really, really affected relationships within, to me, between black men and women.
Okay. I'm gonna get to some of these comments. A Pioneer says, Queen, come on, Queen. That's longer than a 10-minute conversation. You're gonna have to give us at least another 30 minutes on that one. I'm gonna try, but I know Donovan's waiting to get his piece of chicken. And Albert, how you doing? You say, what we are really seeing is a part of ruthlessness kingdom, partially spread between the two parties that got together in 1945. They want us gone. I think some of that is true, but who gonna stay around and serve tacos at Taco Bell, and all these service industry jobs? So yeah, I agree with you that they've always been in cahoots, right? Thunder says it should be a law stating that if you are a district representative, you must live in your district. Hold on a second. It skipped up. 1 second. It must live in your district, and it's mandatory you use the same amenities as your constituents. Yeah, right. They ain't gonna do that, right? Carter says the only leadership is us as a collective. Robin says the government plays a large part in that, took the black man out of the home and destroyed the nuclear family. And Anais says, why are we celebrating derogatory lyrics? Millie Jackson was too much for me. Yeah, even back then, right? She was the OG. Well, she was one of them. I mean, the nasty lyrics have always been around. But see, the difference is that I know of, Millie Jackson wasn't played on mainstream radio. Like, you had to walk out of the record store with a brown paper bag with her stuff. But now you turn on the radio station, you hear all kind of stuff. It's like, oh my God, really? And Angela, if I didn't already, how you doing? He says, those missing black babies are not valued, dismissed by adultifying them. Even their own communities thought to be fast, quote unquote, runaways they were unprotected. Yes, indeed. You're right about that. And Honeydew says, Donovan, I met some really cool aerospace engineers that went on to be Black enterprise. Funny, I was just visiting these memories this week. Maybe you know Iloka, a Nigerian.
Yeah, one thing about Embry-Riddle being a private institution, it's like saying Harvard in aviation. If you say Embry-Riddle, that's like saying Harvard. But another thing about Embry-Riddle was, like you said, I don't know that particular guy, but it was international. Countries would send their best to that school to learn aerospace and engineering and stuff like that there. So yeah, excellent school. Excellent school.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's see here. Try Alan. You say stand up. Okay. Pioneer says, I agree with the king. Finances is one of the biggest problems, but at the risk of sounding sexist, once women became independent, they no longer had to stay with men for their sustenance. Okay.
But a lot of them are grabbing the bag now.
Trying to, right? And Thunder says, I think that back then they knew that they were in this together and that they were all they had and had to stand side by side or perish. Goddess 529, how you doing? And you say maybe one of the reasons our grandparents and great grandparents stayed together was because there was less distraction. Phones, social medias, they had to rely on each other. You said a mouthful there.
My mom is the oldest of 12 live births, and my dad's the second oldest of 22 live births, same mother, same father. Like you just said, no distractions, no TVs, no jobs. What else is there to do? I'm just saying.
And with each other, okay? They wasn't doing it with everybody. It was mostly with each other, right? And Pam Jam says, Millie Jackson is my favorite singer, hands down. Yes, very bold, even for her time, right? And at X Studios. You say, I know this is unrelated, but I had a quick question. How much are the consulting classes? So you're talking about for Demetra K? Well, inbox me or call me. My number is on my website, DemetraK.com, and then we can discuss that because it depends on what you need, right? And I tell you, I'm not very expensive at all. I work with a lot of people. Well, I had to tax Donovan because, Donovan is a piece of work, right? I see these gray hairs.
I will tell you, she made sure she got her money every week I was supposed to give it.
Yes. But also, inbox me, call me, whatever. And then we can go from there because it depends on what you need.
Yeah,
but
and I'm not going to say this just because, we're friends and stuff like that. I'm going to tell you, when I ran for office, it was the best money of my campaign that was spent. I'm telling you, it was worth what I paid.
Yeah, I see you through. I ain't gonna just drop you off, but like, we'll do this. Okay, see you later. And Rick, thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate that. And you also say, I gave a little blood on that bridge in Selma, Alabama for the right to vote. You crazy, John Lewis. And he says, can we do an entire live on Black music? Sure. Donovan would be the aficionado because he knows everybody's birthdays and their mama, what age was born in 1901. And yeah, so we could do that. Pioneer says another thing is most of our great grandparents lived in rural areas where there was not as much opportunity for husband or wives to cheat. In urban areas, you're around more people to cheat with. Good point. And Stanley, how you doing? You say independent women plus incarcerated men equals no families. Good point. And Pam Jammin says, dang it, now I have to go and listen to Millie Jackson's FU Symphony. And then let's see, and Honey.
And how many of you guys know Millie Jackson had a daughter that was a singer, Keisha Jackson?
I know now. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, then we got to have that show. And Honeydew says Riddle also had terrorists and equipment stolen for 9/11. Apparently, terrorists were in strip clubs celebrating 9/11 the night before.
That is very true. And in a short amount of time, some of the terrorists were taught to fly. Well, they weren't taught to land, but they were taught to fly the airplane in a short amount of time. That's very true.
Well, damn. Pioneer says to make a relationship work in society, at least one partner must be dependent on the other for something. If both are independent, it's too easy for them to walk away from each other over pettiness. Very true. Honeydew says Cookman did have outreach programs that I participated in, so they try but nothing militant.
Yeah, she's talking about Mary McLeod Bethune, which is the HBCU down the street from Embry-Riddle.
Okay. Yes, and Karma, how you doing? Says, I just pay attention to the lyrics. I be stroking last year and I almost fell out. What was his name? Clarence somebody?
Clarence Carter. Ooh, shit. Clarence Carter.
Joe Daly says, lies dominate relationships more than honesty. Most don't strive to make their word bond, more or less strive to do the things to keep their partner. Most are too unappreciative of whom they have. And nowadays, most are looking outside the window like the Currys, but with the young, it's just the lies and game pimping. Yes, indeed. And he says, yes, Keisha is in Atlanta. Pamela Jammer says, yes, I know all about Millie Jackson's daughter. And Pioneer says, think about how easy it is for a wife who works only in the house and a husband who works only on the farm to cheat. Who are they going to cheat with? Moving to the city made it much easier. Olivia, how you doing? It says, hello, everyone. I'm late, but you're here, though. Sunlight says, I think Black people, particularly first Black people, should adopt the concept of arranged marriages. It is the only way out of this. In the words of Tina Turner, what's love got to do with it? I keep trying to tell my daughter.
Preach to your sisters. Preach to them sisters.
I try to tell my daughter that. She's like, you ain't got to arrange no marriage for me. Stanley says, the Theodotus Elay stand up in it. Oh, wow. Yeah. I heard that song not too long ago. I don't remember where I heard it. And Pam Jammer says, Donovan, do you know about Bethune Park on Hooper and Gage?
That's an old park. It's been there a while.
All right. So I don't see any more comments. I'll just, give my opinion, I guess. I agree with everything you guys said. We aren't built to last anymore. You know what I mean? If things get rough, we tap out. If something doesn't go our way, we tap out. And I think too, there's no value on the other person. I think we are in a society where people, you can just easily throw them away. Like, you mean nothing to me. I don't want to strive or work toward anything. It's too hard. But most of us have been taught anything worth having, you're going to have to work for, and we've been sold on these fairy tales, right? That, knight in shining armor is going to walk up on a horse and everything's going to be okay. But as I heard it once, we don't teach, especially as women, we stop teaching our daughters that, yeah, it's nice that he's fine and he got a nice car or a horse, but there's other things that come with it. He has to be respectable, or respectful. He has to be able to provide, just the other things that make him more than a man, just how he looks and what he has. And I think the same thing is true for, men with women. If she loses her shape or whatever the case is, I'm gonna go get me a new one. And somebody else said it, that we do have these distractions. Now, I always say Facebook is an inanimate object. It has no power on its own, but it has become another vehicle to allow people to get high on their own supply. So what do I mean by that? You got somebody liking your pictures, or you're cute, and then your head just goes bam, right? You blow up, your head blows up, and you get your ego starts to get stroked. You stupid. Ego gets stroked, and then you start, your eye and your affection starts going elsewhere to something that is one-dimensional. Most of the time, the people you've never met. But so you start getting high on those things, and the people you're at home with is like, well, after all, I don't really like you much, because now your attention is diverted elsewhere. And then it becomes a wrap, if you will. And I think also we don't have the ability to realize nobody's perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect situation. And so we just give up and we tap out and we move on to the next one causing drama and trauma in that relationship. You know, we treat relationships now like a drive-through. You know, I'm gonna order something, then I'm gonna come back later on and get something else. You know, because I'm just done with whatever I ordered before, and so I think our people realize, as y'all said, hey, we all we got. And another thing that's disheartening to me, as far as us in the Black community, we need to stick together more than anybody else does, but we don't. We swap each other out like nothing. We leave kids all over the place in different relationships. We don't commit to those mothers, and then we get in other relationships and we don't commit to those daddies. It's just a lot going on, and we have lost the value of what it means to actually build Black relationships and Black families. And for me, I get sad about it because a lot of our kids, whether they're younger or they're older, some of them have never seen us in conducive relationships. We could tell them about being in good relationships, but what does it mean if we don't show them that? If they always see mom and dad, okay, hey kids, come here. I want y'all to meet somebody. Mom again? What happened to the last guy? You know, so they don't see us in good relationships. And that's what really, you know, for lack of better words, breaks my heart, is because our children, they don't see that anymore. Like, I saw that. Donovan saw it, you know, and a lot of y'all saw it with your parents. You saw your parents stay together, but we don't see that anymore. Our kids are watching us jump from bed to bed, to relationship, baby daddy to baby mama, and drama to trauma. And that's what we're teaching them, unfortunately. And so I think Big Mama and Big Daddy, they got it. There's like, listen, you may not, I may not like you for 2 more weeks, but we sticking together because we got shit to do, right? We got legacies to build. We got generations to mold. And you stuck with me, Glota Jean. Okay, Rufus. All right, so I'm going to get to y'all comments and we going to get out of here. But you guys hit the nail on the head. And let's see here. And in facts, not feeling such prediction, USA will crumble like Soviet Union did. It's not Black people's job to save white supremacist system in the aftermath of the collapse. It's Black people's job to separate and have a survival plan. Yes, indeed. And Pioneer says another problem is so-called integration, quote unquote, living around Caucasians, change the sexual habits and eating habits, how we raise our children, etc., of Afro-Americans, usually for the worse. Yep. And Albert, you say, I'm sorry, I meant that. They want us not breathing. They made a new pact in 2015 and celebrated 70 years of this goal in the same year. We have to learn more about that. And Robin says, exactly, no foundation to stand on. And Honeydew says, Bethune Beach and Daytona was the only beach Blacks could go. And to this day, act funny when we say we're going over there. And Carla says, unsung tells Black artists stories. And Karma says, I just looked at Millie Jackson, and as soon as this live is done, I'm going to check her out. Yeah, you'll be amazed. Yeah, she was a very free woman, if you will. And Albert says, this is what a senior Bush was talking about in 1991 in his address to Congress. All can be proven. Okay. And the X Studio says, I think Shahrazad Ali spoke about it in her book. There are a lot of fantasies on what a relationship is, and when it doesn't work out, like it did on the Hallmark Channel, we quit. That is on both sides. Yeah, we fall prey to these fairy tales. Oh, well, on TV, they ran off together in the sunset. You know, it's like, that's TV. It was like a 90-minute series. That's not life, you know. And I said, I just took a marriage course to prepare for it. I'm ready, and I already have a wife. Okay.
I'm already a wife.
Oh, I was about to say, wait a minute. I'm gonna get my glasses back because I was like, yeah, okay, I'm already a wife. Okay, got it. So you're saying that you're already prepared to be that. I hate to quote this person, but you know, I'm listening more and more. Kevin Samuels made a good point in that you don't become a wife when you get married. You should be already be a wife before you go into the marriage, right? So I agree with that.
Vice versa for the man. Vice versa for the man.
Yep. And help me 100. How you doing? It says, child, I can't believe this mess. And Pioneer says, our children are growing up being given too much conflict advice from different sources. The parents are telling them one thing, social media telling them another, and school telling them another. Yep, too much.
What is the main thing you always say when it comes to children and who should be their role models?
Should be your parents. The parents should be the role models. It shouldn't be Cardi B, shouldn't be the school, shouldn't be anybody else but you. And if anybody else is your child's role model but you, the problem is with you, not them, right? And Albert says, we are in great trouble. Please come together, Black people. Yes, indeed. And Janelle says it's too artificial on all levels. On all levels. Nowadays, too many toys in the mix, and most not rooted in each other beyond the outer influences. Most relationships have no true, deep-rooted, seated love. It's just evaporated feelings to blind people feelings till they can no longer touch. These relationships not founded in principles and true commitment. Not at all. It's a feelings. Well, I don't feel, I'm not in love with you anymore. I mean, you know how many times Big Mama and Big Papa fell out of love?
Well, then think about this too. Our legislators also made it easier for you to walk away from a marriage. Before, you couldn't just walk away. If you're married to Big Mama, I'm not saying they were a little bit more stronger than we are today, but they made it too easy to walk away. No fault marriages. What do they call it?
Yeah,
irreconcilable differences.
Oh yeah.
Nobody's at fault. You could just leave.
Mm-hmm. Pioneer says, well, since you're a student of Neely Fuller Jr., so he teaches you're not going to have an ideal family under the system of white supremacy. He said, don't call it a family, but a care unit. Yep, absolutely. And Shemesh, how you doing? It says, the more European we become, the more weak our people have become. The culture today is thoughtism, like Donovan had mentioned in an earlier Facebook post. Unfortunately, Robin says, I like my parents' marriage. They've been married for 53 years. Wow. They can't stand each other on most days, but they can't live without each other either. Yeah, and that's how it's supposed to be. You're not gonna always like the person you with, but damn.
Yeah, have you ever seen people like this? And and God forbid, I'm not saying in a bad way, Robin. Do you know, like when the one spouse dies, they've been together for years, and then like in a couple of days or maybe a week, the other spouse dies. Because they can't live without each other.
They share the same heart.
Yeah.
It's like you gone, I'm gone too, right? And he says, my parents have been married for 36 years. And that's an accomplishment. It really is. People just don't do those things anymore. They don't stick together. And Marty says, make sure we live in a cold-blooded, non-nurturing society that care less about the little man and the little woman. God got the final say. Part of this pandemic was God. Yes, indeed. And Shemesh says, I love how you strive to get all your listeners' posts in. Cool. Oh, yeah, got to. Pioneer says a husband is a maintainer, one with ability to provide for and protect his mate. How can you be a husband when your woman has to do the providing and rely on the police to protect her? Oh, boy. You done went there then, didn't you? And Meta
Simplocos?
There you go. How you doing, by the way? Say, hey, y'all, I'm late. Yeah, but you're still here. We're going to get out here in the next couple of minutes. And Marty says, if you notice, to make sure this pandemic started last year, it showed many Caucasians that they can lose what they had. We can't see your shoe because they blended in what they had in an instant and not have medicine to clear it up. Good to social distance. Yes, indeed. And Janelle says the 5 P's proper preparation prevents poor performance. Yes, indeed. It takes work and you got to plan for it to be successful. Absolutely. And Pam, as Jamie says, I think that all Black YouTubers should come together and have a prayer meeting 4 times per year over the internet at the same time in unison. I'm just saying, I wouldn't be against that at all. I like it. And Thunder says, that's right, Donovan. And Jonelle says, nowadays divorce is the lottery pot for most. Right. I need half. And men are getting half now too, right? And somebody says, oh boy, Kevin Samuels is full of shit. I didn't say he wasn't. Nah, I didn't say he wasn't. And Robin says, yes, I've seen that. Donovan. And Pioneer says, it's like rappers who come on flashing money, but don't tell their fans how to make the money. Don't complain about how low value men and women without telling us the exact steps to take to raise our value. Exactly, right. Give us the game, Kevin. Give us the game. Right. Other than that, it's just, here's my new watch. Here's my new this. Okay, well, how did you get it? Put us up, let us know. Speaking of which, I'm going to start having Walter come back on here and giving us financial advice. It's just a matter of time. And Terry, how you doing? Says, my great grandparents died a week apart. They couldn't live without each other. That's love, right? Like, I don't want to be here no more. He gone, we gone, right? But yeah, that is definitely love. And Pamela Jamie says, love you all. God bless. We love you too. And Sunlight says, Donovan Sadiq, because we still accept their laws if we complete disengage like we have from the national.
Disengage.
Oh, thank you. Disengage like we have from the national voting system. They can't sabotage us anymore. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Donovan. And Mona says, thanks for making my birthday weekend fun to both of you. I couldn't imagine having a Friday without you to make sure you've been hitting on some great topics on your individual show during the week. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. And happy birthday. I know you said you got to the 31st. And so I think we'll be able to say that to you one more time on Sunday. And Honeydew says, oh, somebody let me know. I'll fly down for a lecture. I hope he's still in the area. My father also valued this man. All right, y'all. So we did it. Gave y'all about another half an hour. The Pioneer says the problem is a person can't teach what they don't know. My dad says it all the time. You can't give us the real game if your only game is getting money from racists who are propping you up to cause division. I agree with you. Yes, Robin, I'm gonna find I told y'all my glasses are in my car in a different city, but I will have my glasses, even if it's my sunglasses. Those are prescription. Thunder says back then when we were united, we accomplished Tulsa, the civil rights movement, sent them into a panic, and they wanted to make sure that didn't happen again. It was too close to getting absolutely free. Absolutely. So anyway, y'all, we're getting out of here. As y'all can hear, my voice is like, I sound like, was it Peter on the Brady Bunch when he was going through puberty? So anyway, y'all, we're going to see y'all on Sunday at 5 o'clock Central Time. I don't know what we'll talk about, but we'll talk about something nevertheless. Thank y'all for being the other side of the conversation. We love you dearly, and we appreciate you for that. Appreciate your donations to helping the show go further. We have a Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal, and you can become a member or join the Super Chat. And we greatly appreciate that.
And thanks to Marcus Guyton,
Marcus
man behind the scenes.
Yes, indeed. It's all right, y'all. We will see you. Thank you, guys. I see you guys, your comments. Thank you. We will see y'all on Sunday. You guys have a great weekend and stay safe out there because you know why. Peace.